This
please,
is our way of saying thank you.
yeah, please take a chance to thank a gracious host. And if you want a chance to win a wonderful bottle of wine provided graciously by Moore Fox, please see Mary Pat about raffle tickets. Okay, so I'm going to, I think that's all of the unofficial, unofficial, ma'am?
Donations for food.
Oh, donations for food?
That table.
There, thank you very much for keeping me honest. There is a donation can back behind the pizza table. The food, as always, has been graciously donated by the McVeigh family. So if you'd like to help offset the cost, please donate.
It doesn't offset the cost, the money goes to the party.
But it goes to the party, so kind of passing it along.
Passing it forward.
All right, cool.
Also, there's stuff on the table on the end that is stuff that I found flying around. If you want any of it, that's fine. If you take some and can donate something towards it, put it in the can as well.
All right.
That's where the donations go.
All right, so I'm going to call the meeting to order officially. So if you can mark the time officially, you've got it on the clock.
It is 1:07 in the afternoon on the 1st of June, 2019.
Okay, so here's the proposed agenda. We're calling it to order. We're going to introduce officers of the state party, distinguished guests. We have a few of those. We're going to provide a treasurer's report. I'll give a brief review of what the state party has been through over the last year. We're going to have presentations by Mr. Alex Merced, Vice Chair of the Libertarian National Party.
Point of personal privilege. Would you mind standing on that side so I can see? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. We're also going to invite Ms. Kim Petters and a late addition, Mr. Sam Chick, President and Executive Director from Delcana, to speak. After that, we're going to take a recess. When we come back, we've kind of shuffled the order a little bit. We're going to do an awards presentation, elect members to the next state board. We'll recess into county caucuses or county affiliates for their elections. We'll call it back to order, and then we will adjourn for the day. So do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion we approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll take Jimmy just because he's wearing that awesome end cap shirt. So all in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, none opposed, motion carries unanimously. All right, so just a quick introduction.
Point of information. Do we have a credentials report?
I can vouch for most of the people in here for Newcastle County.
Well, see, I'm abusing parliamentary procedure here because I know the answer to the question. So now you're supposed to say, I don't know, Mr. Secretary, do we have a credentials report?
See, and all right, so
there are 17 credentialed libertarians in the room.
all right, so we have 17 credentialed libertarians. Does that constitute a quorum?
It does.
All right. So
we don't have any quorum requirements for the state convention.
What's that?
We don't have any quorum requirements for the state convention. Not to call people out, but as far as people who are not credentialed and who are not sitting in the back there, that's Will Fox and sorry, I don't remember your name.
Brian. No. Oh, Lee.
Lee.
I thought Nadine said Lee was credentialed.
I'm talking about the guy sitting next to Lee.
Oh. Yeah. Sorry. All right. So.
Yeah, Lee's good. Sorry, like I said, I don't remember your name.
Brian.
Brian. Okay,
right,
yeah, Brian. So just keep an eye on those two and don't let them crash.
Sorry, not to call out any newcomers. So we do.
Yeah, you are absolutely welcome. Just there are rules about voting.
So we are going to vote later on, and I guess you're with Mr. Fox and our guests from Delcana, as well as our national vice chair.
Oh yeah, you can't vote either.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alex. So when it comes to voting, if you could abstain, we'd appreciate that. All right, so Mr. Secretary, I get to continue with the introduction of distinguished guests.
Yes, you are.
All right, so first off, I'd like to recognize Vice Chair of the Libertarian National Committee, Mr. Alex Merced. If you could stand up. I want to thank you you on behalf of the Libertarian Party of Delaware for coming down from New York and making the time to come down and speak with us. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I'd like to introduce Mrs. Kim Petters and Mr. Sam Chick. Kim Petters is the Executive Director for Delcana. Sam Chick is the President. They're engaged in lobbying for cannabis reform here in Delaware, and they will also be presenting. And then they have in front of them Cameron. I'm not sure if I got a brief, but you're not speaking, right, Cameron?
Not speaking, no.
All right.
Strong vegetarian though. So.
Perfect. So again, I want to thank you guys for coming out as well. I'm Sean Goward, I'm the state chair for those of you who don't know me. Mr. Brad Thomas is the vice chair for the state party. So. All right, Mr. Will McVeigh, I'm not going to ask you to stand because you've got an adorable little toddler in your arms, but Mr. McVeigh is the state secretary as well as the Kent County chair and representative to the board for Kent County. Miss Mary Pat McVeigh, she's our treasurer. Nadine Frost. All right, Miss Nadine Frost is the chair. Moving our way south again, Will is the chair for Kent County, and then Mr. James Brittingham. Sorry, James. And last but not least, I'd like to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out on a beautiful Saturday afternoon and making time to come out to our convention. All right. So for our treasurer's report, currently in the bank we have $2,166.18. In PayPal, we have $1,484.77 for a grand total, and this is as of the end of May. So any donations made up through just prior to June are probably not going to be listed, but it gives us a total of $3650.95. All right, so 2018 year in review. We're gonna kind of take a look back, go back through memory lane. For those of you who remember the Angry Beaver conflict of 2017.
Yes. Who could forget?
I know, it's so long ago. It started in 2017. Unfortunately, that inter-party conflict kind of escalated into the beginning of 2018. We had a meeting with some of the opposing parties at last year's convention that didn't end well interpersonally. However, the Commissioner of Elections delayed in Ms. Nadine Frost's Senate campaign and publishing her nomination, kind of setting her back a little bit. And so Nadine, Will, and I filed a pro se suit in Superior Court for writ of mandamus to compel the Commissioner of Elections to recognize the legitimate Libertarian Party of Delaware, that's us, as the organization bearing the rights to the title, name, and device of the party, and kind of make an end run. And you know, nobody was happy about how things went with the Angry Beaver conflict, and I think we dealt with it in a very impeccable way. We didn't get personal, we didn't get nasty, we didn't feed the fire with any kind of oxygen, but we kind of made our own personal end run through the Commissioner of Elections, asking her for guidance. She refused to provide it, so we went to Superior Court asking the court to compel Ms. Manlove to provide us the guidance that we were looking for and to list Nadine on the 2018 ballot for U.S. Senate. So part of that, Nadine was listed very shortly after the commissioner was served with the paperwork notifying that we filed suit. So,
point of information, was that a coincidence, do you think, maybe?
I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and just say that, yeah, that was a coincidence, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But while we got Nadine on the ballot, which gave us a de facto judgment from the Commissioner of Elections at that point, because she and the Board of Elections kind of dug their heels, and we wanted something a lot more definitive. So, despite pressure from the Attorney General's office to withdraw our case, we refused. Despite threats of being charged for court costs if the case got dismissed, we refused. We had our day in court. Nadine, Will, they both did an impeccable job before the judge. Unfortunately, and there's a caveat, little asterisk at the end, so bear with me. Unfortunately, the court agreed with the Deputy Attorney General that we lacked standing, and the judge dismissed the case. However, in the ruling, the judge said that the reason we lacked standing, and this is concrete from the Superior Court, is because we are, in fact, the Libertarian Party of Delaware, and we are the stewards of the party for every registered Libertarian in the state. And so, despite having the case thrown out, despite being defeated, we got what we want from a place of higher authority within the state government. And so, despite being defeated, it's mission accomplished, and we got our victory. And so that really helped us out and kind of transitioned us into the election for 2018. So that being said, we were kind of hamstrung a little bit by the fact that our board was involved in trying to push this suit through Superior Court. However, we had quite a few incredible candidates for 2016.
18.
Thank you. Nadine, as always, did a great job running for U.S. Senate, and she's running again. Expect to see her up here stumping hard for the nomination next year to run against Chris Coons. Did I get that one right? Yes. I get them mixed up.
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
True. So just a couple of other highlights. Scott Gesty, he's for a few cycles he was our U.S. representative nominee. But before that, he had run for District 7 U.S. representative, and in that time, he doubled his vote count between the last time he ran for his state representative district and 2018. Did I get it right that time?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Amy Merlino ran against the House Minority Leader, Valerie Longhurst. She got into the double digits and got 12% of the vote, which is a huge benchmark for the Libertarian Party. Johnny, where are you at? Right there. John ran a meme-based campaign against the Newcastle County.
Trolling also.
Meme-based trolling campaign, thank you for the clarification on that, against the incumbent Newcastle County Sheriff, and so little to no overhead costs on his part, but he got about 10%, 11% of the vote.
It was 11%.
11% of the vote, so again, another Libertarian in double
Point of
digits.
information, how many votes was that in absolute numbers?
Off the top of my head, I don't have that data available.
Is it possible it was over 22,000?
No.
It was about 22,000 if I remember right.
I think it was like about 19.
You counting the absentee votes too?
Was there an opponent from the other major party?
No.
No.
Not in that race.
Thank you.
So, and we'll kind of get to that in where we need to move forward. Newcomer, Mr. Bill Hines, right here. Bill Hines actually got 15%, and am I mistaken? You were in a three-way race?
No.
Two-way race. Okay. Okay. So, but still, again, very good numbers for what we traditionally get as a Libertarian Party here in Delaware.
Point of information, would you characterize Earl Jakes as a tool?
What's that?
Would you characterize Earl Jakes as a tool?
Who?
Earl Jakes.
The guy Bill ran against. Earl Jakes.
Oh, Earl. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Yeah.
I always thought it was Jocks.
No,
Jake.
it's you, yes and no. It always gets me too.
Okay. All right.
Always gets me.
Well, and you'll have to forgive me. I'm half deaf from working around airplanes in the Air Force. So, Personally, yes, as a state chair, I won't pontificate on that.
More boo.
So, and finally, I want to thank Rob Snouse for running, and Rob did an incredible job reaching out to legacy news sources. Got a lot of airtime on the radio. You got recognition in local newspapers as well. Is that correct?
TV 46.
I was all over. TV 46. Yeah, I mean, he really was. Rob was busting his hump, getting the information out there, and did a really incredible job running in his district. And so, one of the things, first of all, I'd like to give a big round of applause for all of our candidates. And then I'd also like to challenge all of our candidates from 2018 to take that experience that you've gained, and as we transition into 2020, to be able to spread that knowledge around to other candidates as they're getting started up, especially the ones that haven't had an opportunity to run yet. So let's see. So that was quite a bit of 2018. All right, stand by 1 second.
There you go.
I guess my mouse is lights on. Should be working. What's that? Man.
I was making you.
Oh, okay. No, I thought we had a legitimate point of order. I'm not gonna lie, there was a little pucker there. So for our guests, we had some dilatory conduct. 2 conventions passed where point of order was used over and over and over again to stall the convention. So if you hear point of order, most of the time it's probably going to be tongue in cheek. So I didn't want that joke to stay completely inside. All right, so moving forward, a couple of things that as a state party that we need to look at. First thing is fundraising. This really kind of gets down to setting up infrastructure for the state party itself, and the county parties are definitely welcome to follow suit. But what we're looking at is increasing the proliferation of access to methods like PayPal, adding donation buttons through social media links and things like that. And so hopefully over the next year, pending the election this afternoon, we'll continue to work on increasing the availability for options for people to be able to donate money. I would be remiss if I didn't mention, if you have the capability to, even if it's a very small amount, I'd encourage you to go to www.de.lp.org, and that redirects to our page.
Point of information, didn't the website change to lpdelaware.org?
Yes. All right, so I thought I had it on one of the slides, but I lost some of them yesterday. But go to our state page, take a look, and if you can click on the PayPal link and set up a recurring donation, even if it's just $1 or $2 a month, every little bit helps, and it'll go back to supporting candidates, building the state party, and spreading the message of liberty. Next, we have a candidate guide. Ms. Kara Schultz, and Alex, refresh my memory on what her title is within.
She's a candidate recruitment specialist.
All right, so Kara Schultz is candidate recruitment specialist. I talked to her at that LNC meet and greet back in December, and she was gracious enough to forward on the national candidate guide in a soft copy format so that we can edit that. And over the next election cycle, we're going to look at adding Delaware-specific supplements to that, so that we have either an electronic format or a hard format guide that our candidates can use to navigate campaign finance reform system, Delaware campaign finance laws, advertising, resources, and that's something that I'd like the state board for the party of Delaware to continue improving on with feedback from our candidates in order to allow us to assist the folks on the ground a lot better. Candidate recruitment is something that I really want to hit, specifically local and county offices. I know Nadine is running for U.S. Senate, and she definitely has her support doing that. But even if you have small time commitments, even if you have, you don't think you have a lot of energy or drive to do it, I would encourage everybody in the party to take a look at running for a municipal and county office. And you know, a lot of people think, well, it's not very important, and I'd like to bring up, I talked with Will, and we kind of helped out a little bit, a family here in Kent County who was being harassed by the county for what I affectionately call misdemeanor possession of chicken. They had zoned agricultural property, and it was, I forget the specific zoning laws, but the county was saying that because it was smaller than an acre property, that they couldn't have chickens, goats, I think they had pigs on their property. And so, you know, I used to have chickens at my house, and it was small residential. And the county came in and harassed me about it, and I did my due diligence and research. I had a little bit of experience, and I actually used to have hanging on my fridge, I was a proud kindergartner, a letter from Sarah Kiefer, from the planning department in Kent County saying, you know what, you're right, we take it back, you are allowed to have chickens. And it was a long protracted battle, but if we think that, all right, well, county level, whatever, but there was coordination with county commissioners during this entire process, and their mindset was, all right, well, we'll take a look at it. And what we need is, we need people in these county municipal offices to sit there and say, no, the purpose of government isn't to sit there and tell you what you can have on your property, what you can grow on your property. The purpose of government is to protect people's life, liberty, and property. And so, if we have people on the Kent County Levy Court, or the Newcastle County Levy Court, or in municipal offices who are willing to field questions from their constituents and hold accountable the bureaucrats that work for those individual organizations, then we're going to see a lot more success, because the county does go around through code enforcement and through small civil charges, and it was a misdemeanor offense. They were looking at fines against the property, liens, and actually putting this family's property in jeopardy just because they had livestock, which they were allowed to have. Ultimately, I think it ended up working well for them, but we need people in those elected positions to put the pressure on the bureaucrats, the folks who aren't subject to public scrutiny, and say, look, you know, that's not your job. You can't sit there and harass people like that. So it is critically important that, you know, even if we start from the bottom up, that we get people in positions that respect the value of life, the value of people's labor, the value of people's liberty. And so if you live inside a municipality, or if you live in the county, or if you have kids that go to a specific school district, I would definitely encourage you to contact one of your county affiliates and take a very sincere look at running on behalf of the Libertarian Party.
Point of information on that. Speaking
Sure.
of a master gardener that works with the Delaware Department of Agriculture, each county has a county extension agent. They are used to working with small farms, and small farms are as small as an acre. I deal with people like that, 4-H people, etc. The county agent, because agriculture is really big in Delaware, that county agent will work in parallel and will be a lot more responsive than some public official, i.e. a commissioner.
Okay. Ma'am?
I'll also add some information. A lot of these small, I'm not sure what you kind of, small row offices.
Okay.
The positions are not often highly contested. There's generally only one person who's in the office, so you're running against one person, and sometimes they remain unfilled because nobody's run for them. So there's a position that's not contested. It's a gold mine, an opportunity for a libertarian to basically walk into it.
Oh, absolutely. And from a strategic standpoint, the smaller the offices, the easier it's going to be for a smaller party like us to be able to get boots on the ground, to go door to door. School board elections sometimes are decided by less than 50 to 75 votes. So, yeah, it's a matter of going through your neighborhood, going through your community, knocking on doors. So it's really kind of critical that we have dedicated people who are willing to go out and do that. And a lot of times these offices, especially school board, yeah, they don't have a very intensive time requirement to be able to fulfill the duties of that office. And then the last item, kind of looking ahead, is it's a matter of promoting positive growth within the party. At the beginning of 2018, we had 1,633 registered libertarians. Over the course of the 2018 election cycle, we grew by almost 100 to 1,725. And I want to stress that positive growth does not equal just the numbers of registered libertarians, the numbers of members of national, the number of people who come to our county meetings. Positive growth is about proliferating our core beliefs and our core philosophy, and really kind of showing people that being involved in a voluntary society where we can meet each other's needs without the need for government force, where we can help each other out on a voluntary basis, where we can protect ourselves and protect other people, and we are given. Well, we're not given, but we're unmolested when we exercise our liberties. That is the ideal, and any encroachment by government onto that is a violation of natural law, and it's a violation of our rights. And last night we had an incredible conversation with an inebriated young lady.
It was good.
We did invite her to be here today, but I guess she forgot.
We did. And
she's hungover.
She probably is hungover. Hopefully she's hydrating. And she kept identifying herself as a progressive. And I told the folks that were with us to greet Mr. Merced last night that, like the Princess Bride, the things she kept saying, it kind of brought me back to the Princess Bride. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. I'm a liberal progressive, but I believe in the Second Amendment. People have the right to be able to defend themselves. I'm a liberal progressive, and we should have the rights to do what we want with our bodies. I'm a liberal progressive, but I'm sorry, you got the wrong L word there. I think you're a libertarian. Please let us help you step out of the closet. But it's that kind of positive growth. It comes from reaching out and having those conversations with our friends and our neighbors and our community and the people that we work with, and helping them identify. I don't care what letter you have in front of your name, whether it's R, D, L, I, G, or any of the other 17 other registered parties here in the state of Delaware. Everybody values their own freedom. But this group of people right here, we're the only ones that have enough love for the other people in our community to value the freedom of others as well. And we can show countless examples of when private enterprise and innovation and ingenuity have helped us solve the problems that we face, both within our communities and around the world, and where no government intervention has been required to solve that problem. And in fact, I'm sure that every single soul here in the state of Delaware, almost 1 million of us, can sit there and show a certain example of where government has impeded our ability to innovate and enterprise and enrich our own lives. So when I talk about positive growth, yes, we want major party status. Granted, we want it without the strings attached by a primary process by the state. We want to be able to select candidates who share our values and beliefs rather than having some random person choose us as an alternative because they couldn't get in on one of the big parties. We want our candidates to project our message of love and liberty. But we want that status, but we don't want to just arbitrarily get it. We want to be able to show people that when they have the capability to run their own lives and participate in voluntary interactions, and it's uncertain. It's even the bad stuff. People like, well, what about the racists? Well, okay, I don't want to shove them in a closet. I don't want the government to hide them. I want to know who that is so that I don't give them my business. I don't give them my money. They don't have the same values as me. I don't want to associate with them. And that's the beauty of it, is that it's a lot more honest. It's a lot more open, and it gives everybody a lot more opportunity to be able to succeed, to fail, and to learn from those failures. So when I talk about positive growth, I bring up the numbers just because they're presented by the state and they're available for us, but that's not my focus. My focus is on what we believe and how we share that belief with everybody else in the state of Delaware, and how we can shift their focus and frame it to where, like, oh wait, well, I guess I'm not a liberal progressive. I guess I'm not a Bernie brother. I'm a libertarian. So, a little difficult to do with the fog of alcohol, but we gave it a good college try. I'm trying not to stump for elections a little bit later on this afternoon, but that's kind of the focus that I want to project as we move forward into the 2020 election, and as we progress over the next 2 years, and we definitely have a lot of experience in this room. We definitely have a lot of ideas in this room, and I would encourage each and every one of you to contribute, even if you don't want to do the PayPal thing. I hate asking for money. But if you have a talent, if you have a passion, if you have a drive or specific focus that you feel can contribute to the cause of liberty, please come out to our county meetings, talk to our chairs, network within the party, and make things happen, because this stuff doesn't happen from the top down. I'm not going to sit there and push my finger on a button and all of a sudden it magically appears. That's not how I work. That's not how the state board works. We're relying on everybody within the party to help out voluntarily and donate their efforts and abilities and time and resources to be able to make this party succeed. And we're going to continue to build upon the success of 2018 and continue to move forward. So that being said, I guess I have to use the mouse button now. So I'd like to introduce Vice Chair of the Libertarian National Committee, Mr. Alex Merced, who's very
So a quick time, make sure that I like to talk.
So do I.
Yeah.
We all do.
Hey everybody, my name is Alex Merced. I am the Vice Chair of the Libertarian Party. And I just want to say, first off, thank you guys for having me. This is the 8th state convention I've been to this year. And every time I go to one of these things, I just fall in love with the party even more. Because I get to see all the great work that everyone's doing, all the passion that everyone's pouring into this. And it just keeps me optimistic for the future. And trust me, I've seen a lot of reason for optimism. Because the Libertarian Party is really a very unique institution and a very important one. Because what you're offering is very different than what the R's and the D's are offering. Other parties are focused on what world do we want by any means necessary. Whether that is using violence, non-violence, we don't care. This is the world we want, and we want to force everyone to have that world. Instead of offering what, we offer how. You can want whatever world you want. We just ask that we do it peacefully. We're the party that tells how. We prioritize the process. And that's a very unique proposition. We're asking for what I like to refer to as individual peace, or basically individual disarmament. And I mean, when you think about it, every individual in the world decided to approach their life peacefully, well, every massive war would not be around, because every war is made up of massive amounts of individuals. So every time we encourage someone to empower themselves by taking the reins of their life, by realizing that the life they live is in their hands. And that we just want to make sure that it's as much in their hands as possible. That is one step to not just enriching their life, but also creating a very peaceful world where we can all live, coexist in a peaceful and respectful way. But the Libertarian Party offers 4 things. Oftentimes people always focus on 2. They focus on the political, getting people elected so that we can shift policy in a more libertarian direction, meaning leaving people alone. But it's not just getting people elected, it's ballot initiatives, getting things on the ballot and making direct changes to policy.
We don't have that in Delaware.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
We'll push for it.
Right.
But also just lobbying, okay? Even when between elections, when you don't have people, if you do or don't have people in office, reaching out to legislators to get policy moving in the direction. These are all things that as a political party you can organize and do. So that's political, number 1. Number 2 is education. Every time we do organize politically, whether it's an election for a ballot initiative or for lobbying, we are reaching out to people, we are connecting with people, we are educating them. The thing always about education though, is that people have to be listening in order to learn. And oftentimes, that's where the next 2 things come in. Community and healing. Okay, because one of the strongest, I think, examples of libertarian ideas in action that we offer is us, the community within the Libertarian Party. When I go to each of these conventions, I'm meeting people who basically, they carpool together, they take care of each other's kids, they do all this stuff voluntarily, by consent, they build community, they solve each other's problems, not just in the political realm, but in each other's lives. And that's an example of the world we're trying to build. And the stronger the community within the Libertarian Party is, the stronger that example is to voters, to non-voters, to everyone else of a more libertarian world. Okay? On top of it, that community, that family that we build is also an example that entices people to want to get involved. Okay? Like, wow, I really like that. You guys like take care of each other? Okay, I mean, in the other parties, they just kind of want my money and they don't talk to me. Okay? So, yeah, can I get in on that? And then once they come in front of the family, they're like, yeah, well, you guys believe this and this? That all makes a lot of sense. Okay? And that's another way of opening up their ears and opening up their minds, so that way that education can take hold, and that way they vote and move policy in the direction that we want it to move into. So again, we're offering all these things. These are things that are very unique to us versus other political organizations. And then the 4th is healing. Okay, you always hear that whole kind of concept, the idea that everyone was kind of a libertarian as a kid. We all understood that we should voluntarily share, not hurt people, not take other stuff, and then somewhere along the line we kind of forgot. The reason why that happens is because we get hurt. Okay, we interact with people betray our trust, we have wounds. Okay, our expectations are not met on that occasion, and those wounds can sometimes cloud your judgment and cloud your faith in others. That suddenly through government, suddenly starts making a lot more sense, and you start losing that whole idea of voluntarism. You can't listen because the scar tissue is too deep. But one of the things that we do is when we build that community and we allow people to see that in action, we're giving them a vehicle for healing, where those wounds can heal, and then once again that message can be absorbed. So, and then that not only again gets them to listen to the ideas more, but also allows them to have more enriching lives where they can trust people again and love people again. So on all these different metrics, us as the Libertarian Party, we're really trying to change the world at many different levels. And it's a beautiful thing. And I see it in action, I see it take hold, and it's a beautiful thing. Okay? But thinking about, actually first I'll mention chickens, because this is like the 5th convention where chickens have come up. This is like really like a national issue.
We gotta change our mascot.
We need to decriminalize chickens. But seriously, sometimes it's those little issues that really are the kind of linchpin issues that can really show people like, yeah, why are they intervening in this? Maybe you're right, government gets involved in too much, too often. And it's a thing, and also, especially for like local races, it's a big issue. And I didn't realize, because living in New York City, backyard chickens don't come up very much because there's no backyard. But traveling this year, now I know chickens are a thing, and it's a big thing. Huh?
How about Staten Island?
Staten Island, true. Well, there's turkeys running wild everywhere in gangs. Okay, like literally, if you go to Staten Island, you can't go to the hospital because there's a gang of turkeys guarding like the entrance. But yeah, no, I mean, in Florida and Minnesota, I've seen this discussed, and like you said, people are impacted. People can potentially lose their property, have their lives heavily impacted by such little things, and that I think is a very powerful message. And I'm very glad that you were highlighting that. But also, let's talk about Amanda, our friend from last night. Okay? So we're sitting there, and yes, one of the things I got a vibe, and oftentimes when I have these kind of interactions, like I remember once right after the 2016 convention, I was sitting there having a lunch with a young candidate who was going to run in New York City. And someone saw sort of like my libertarian whatever I had on, and she comes up to me and just berates me, being like, "You're the reason why Trump's in office, blah, 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 blah." I don't think, a lot of times, you just need to let people vent. Because they're not going to hear anything until they get it out there. Again, it's a whole healing process. They're just looking for a reason to just let it out. And you could definitely tell there was a lot of that with her last night. She just really wanted to get it out. And like a lot of the stuff she was saying at first had nothing to do with us. She was complaining about other people who were doing other things that we agree with her on. She just really wanted to get it out. Huh? Yeah.
Joe Biden, yeah.
Yeah, she was not a Biden fan.
Which is good.
Which is good.
Yeah.
But, like I always say, I'm more than glad to listen to be heard. And that's one of the things I'm seeing a lot more people do, which I think is a very good thing. Because if we want, basically, libertarianism, the whole idea of consent is all based on, one of the beautiful things about consent is that it breeds reciprocity. Okay, when I think of the relationship with my wife, okay, any day she could be like, "Alex, I'm done with you, I'm leaving, your bow ties, I'm done with them." Okay? But because it's all consensual, I'm constantly trying to make her happy, and she's constantly trying to make me happy. Now, for some reason, one of us doesn't. We have a mechanism of accountability. We can withdraw consent. I can be like, I don't want to be part of this anymore. That's the beauty of a society, of an economy, of a society based in consent, which is what the Libertarian Party is trying to build. Okay, and it's not just that reciprocity, because we're trying to make each other happy. That accountability, because one of us can withdraw consent. On top of that, knowledge. Okay? If I do something wrong and then she's like, "Okay, I'm about to walk out the door," now I know. Okay? If I do something and if I do something and then she said yes, because when I propose, now I know. We create knowledge through consensual relationships that allow us to make better decisions and coordinate as a society better in the future. And that's why everywhere we see where consent is the focus of how we arrange ourselves, we see nothing but good. Why wouldn't we want more consent in healthcare? Why wouldn't we want more consent in education? Why wouldn't we want more consent in every aspect of our lives when it's reading reciprocity, accountability, and knowledge? I think I want that in everything. Okay? And that's what we're trying to sell. And it's a great thing. But again, we have to practice, but like any sales, then this is always thing I hear. It's like, well, we shouldn't have to worry about like the sales process because the message is good. Every product, every manufacturer thinks their product is the best product in the world, but you still gotta sell it. Okay, it doesn't matter how good the product is, and that's where all the traditional sales stuff comes into play. The listening, the making sure you know who your target market is, and crafting the message and all that stuff. We have a great project, we got a great product, and people are selling it better than ever, and we still can sell it better. But I'm excited because people are wanting to, and that's got me really excited. But that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to say. But I wanted to make sure I had an opportunity to answer any questions that people might have or things they want me to talk about. And I'm more than glad to opine, pontificate on anything you would like. But just a quick note on as far as national goes. If you haven't renewed your national membership, please do. Those dollars do go a long way. Just a couple little highlights as far as what national does. But you mentioned Kara Schultz. Kara Schultz is amazing, candidate recruitment specialist. If you don't know her story, she was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago, and she was thinking, you know what, if I only have a short time left, I'm going to run for office. She won for office. The day she won, she found out she was in remission. And literally that basic, and then since then, and then what did she do right after that? Go get a job with the Libertarian Party. Her dedication is amazing. She's supported candidates all across the country the last couple of years, giving them information. She's building resources for them. So those dollars go to support having people like Kara Schultz on staff. Or Apollo Pazel. Apollo Pazel focused on identifying sort of 10 candidates last year that seemed, we only have so much resources, right? So we chose like 10 candidates, and you had Jeff Hewitt over there in Riverside County, California, win. Okay? Highest elected Libertarian Party in the country. A Libertarian Party person in the party, remember the LNC? Very funny guy. But also Bethany Valdez in Wyoming, who came about 50 votes short of unseating a Senate Majority Leader in Wyoming. They actually called the race in her favor. until they found $500.
Yeah, Peter Shirley, yeah.
It's like, oh, we have a box of votes.
We just finished filling them out.
Yep. But the point is, like, those dollars that were invested in those target races paid off. The dollars that are invested in ballot access, okay, in helping states like, helping Larry get on the ballot last year with support from the LNC, and now we have ballot access in New York, okay? Those national dollars do go to help support the CRM project and several other things that we're trying to do. We're going to try to, and we want to do more and more and more so we can do all those things on a bigger scale. So do consider, renewing your national membership, and also make sure you renew your membership with your state party and your local chapters, because those dollars do matter. With that, I'll take questions.
A question on that,
Go for it.
national level, the Maryland got,
D ballot access?
yeah, they got removed because they didn't have a candidate, I guess, get enough votes.
Yeah, we lost ballot access, I think, there.
So how do you fight that as a national party?
In some states, like in Maine, we're fighting it legally. So what happens in Maine has like one of the worst. So what happened in Maine is that the way you get ballot access in Maine is first you have to register 5,000 party members, and then in the next election you have to get a certain percentage of the vote. And if you don't get that, then literally your entire registration gets wiped clean, and you have to start from scratch. So it's like a 4-year process, and then now you start all over again. So they fell short, and they're wiping their entire registration roll. So right now we're fighting that court because there's good precedent in other states that level of difficulty is unconstitutional and too much of a burden. So sometimes there's the legal route. So there's a couple states where we are approaching legally. In other states, that's one of the benefits of national. I mean, there's nothing. People always don't like the word redistribution, but that's what kind of a national does. It helps. Like New York was able to get help because there was money coming in from other states. Now New York, with our money going to national, is going to go to help other states who helped us in the past. And so there are going to be states that are just going to need to get back in the bandwagon, run candidates, and get those vote totals again, like New Hampshire and some of the other states. So we help, whether it's ballot access or legal support, we try to that's one of our #1 priorities, to make sure that we have that 50-state ballot access. So that way, especially for the presidential election, we have that because that ballot access one is also a great source of press for us, which then gets people involved in the parties and gets people involved in those local races afterwards. So it's a priority for us, but it's usually legal or basically giving the funds when we can, as long as the state has a good plan. So usually the state will go approach our ballot access committee, which is Bill Redpath is the chair of that. You would approach it and say, okay, well, you need this many funds. Our state's going to contribute this much funds. Here's how many votes it's going to count, or how many signatures that's going to be, how many registrations it's going to be. Usually a solid plan, the funds get dedicated. Any other questions? Regarding national, how the weather is, whatever you like.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Because across the street was free. No.
I can answer
Yes.
that because it's on my website.
Go for it.
Why did the chicken cross the road? It's
Vote
none of your
Libertarian.
business, and am I being detained?
There it is.
But if there's no other questions, then thank you guys so much for having me. It's been great. Again, come pay me a visit because I like to make sure I take a picture with everybody. And I'll be around. Thank you.
Absolutely. I definitely appreciate you coming out to speak to us. There's a couple things that I wanted to kind of address as far as national. When I joined the party, there was a little bit of ambivalence towards membership in the national party, and some of the chatter I heard is, well, what have they done for us? Yeah, it's why are we going to throw money in different states? Over the course of the Angry Beaver conflict of 2017, we did reach out to national for assistance and guidance and precedent. And the LNC Special Counsel, Mr. Oliver Hall, did an incredible job helping us out at no cost to the state, pointing us in the right direction for how we needed to move our party forward. Again, Kara Schultz provided us the candidate guide, and so I really want to put out there that just the experience working with national over the last year and a half, 2 years, it motivated me to become a lifetime member of the national party. And I would definitely encourage you, if you're on the fence about lifetime, consider it, but definitely take a look at it and renew your membership, sir.
Oh, there's one other thing. The number of registered members you have at national also affect your delegate count at the national convention.
That is very true. All right, so let's get enough members of national so that we can sit there and rival California at convention.
That would be great.
Indiana.
Or Indiana.
Indiana has a huge count too.
Yeah.
So I'd also like to kind of use one of the things that Alex said to kind of segue in. Our next guest speaker is involved in one of the ways that we interface with the public, and that's specifically in lobbying and legislation. And after today's convention, I'm definitely going to sit down and have a friendly chat with them about creating a partner organization called Del Chicken. Because Alex did bring up, hey, if we're going to look at legalizing cannabis, let's look at legalizing chicken as well. Next I'd like to invite up Mrs. Kim Petters and Mr. Sam Chick. Are you guys coming up at the same time, or?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sam, I'm sorry, it's short notice. If I'd have known, I would put your name on the slide as well. But Sam Chick is president of Delcana, and Kim Petters is executive director for Delcana, and they're going to speak a little bit about cannabis legalization efforts in Delaware over the last year or so.
Yeah.
Well,
and going forward.
Probably the last 4 years,
Okay.
and you can much longer, stay much longer.
So we're going to go through just a brief introduction and give a rundown of current legislation going on, some smaller efforts, and then culminating in legalization. But what I'm going to pass around first, because we have some of the finest legal minds in Delaware here, these are bills. This is HB 110, which is the proposed, currently introduced legalization bill, which is right here. If you can take your time and take a look and then just pass it down. So we have HB 110, and then we have 4 other proposals which may be introduced here in the next couple of weeks. 2 of them are basically decriminalization, full decriminalization, or a greater degree, ending prohibition, and there are the other 2 deal with the commercial aspect. And these are different ways to do it, so take your time. I'm going to leave these copies here so you guys can just take a look at it. You're welcome to send me comments. I would really appreciate that. But yeah, just pass it down and take a look. They're all right here. And just take your time, guys, because it's, there's different options. There's a lot of different ways to skin this cat. So just some introductions of Kim, if you're going to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Kim Petters, and I'm a veteran advocate, a cannabis advocate. I was heavily involved with the original SB 24, which was the bravery bill. That was it was a simple amendment just to, make it so veterans and others could get better access to medical cannabis for PTSD, and it ended up being one hell of a fight the whole way through, but all the way to the governor's desk. But we did it, we were successful, and that's how I got involved in all of this and working with Sam. And so, and we'll give you an update on what we've been up to, but we'll get there. We have lots of information, and by the way, I just want to let you know right now, I am not going to sugarcoat anything or give any fluff. You don't seem like the crowd that wants to hear it anyway, so.
So my name's Sam Chick. I'm a small businessman, a veteran, worked with Kim on SB 24. I've actually first got involved in politics after I got out of the Army and got interested in somebody you guys may be fond of, a guy named Ron Paul. Kind of started my political journey that way and ended up running for office and supported ending cannabis prohibition. I really don't like saying legalization because we want to end cannabis prohibition. We're not just trying to make it legal. So I've been supporting it for a long time, and now we are very close. So our organization specifically, it's about, we don't just want any kind of legislation. If we're going to do this, let's do it right, because what we get stuck with, we're going to have it for a very long time. There's a reason you can't go into the grocery store or the gas station and buy beer, because they made that law 80 years ago, and here we are today. And in fact, in some ways, we're going in the wrong direction. They just passed a bill for alcohol this year that makes it harder to open a liquor store, increases the distance that is the minimum distance between them. I don't know if you guys are tracking on that, but we're backsliding. So it's important that we get it right, and we can get it right. ending cannabis prohibition, so that's restoring full use, possession, cultivation, everything. You know, how many, when it comes to liquor, you know, how many bottles of vodka are you allowed to have in your house? How many bottles of wine? As many as you want. There is no limit. That's right. Exactly. But if you engage in commercial activity, then the state has certain things to go there. But if it's for personal use, for your friends, you can do whatever you want. We would like to see the same thing with cannabis, eventually just possession unprohibited for adults 21 plus, expungements for non-violent criminals, basically no violations except for distribution to minors. That's kind of what it comes down to. That's the biggest thing. Ending the commercial code. We have a reputation here, you know, I know this is the Libertarian Party, but we do have a reputation in Delaware sometimes for getting legislation right and doing it the right way. We've done it multiple times in history here. We did it with corporations back in the 1890s, which still sustains over 25% of our budget today. It's huge. We did it with the Financial Center Development Act, which made us a banking and a credit capital. We can do the same thing with cannabis because agriculture is our #1 private sector here, and all of Delaware's farmers and agricultural industry should be able to get in on this crop because we have a huge market within 200 miles of us. You know, we're talking 50 million plus people. It's a lot of people. Delaware is an agricultural state. The whole peninsula is. We should be able to take advantage of this. We used to have what are called the 4 C's in Delaware. Chickens. So chemicals, credit, cars. We don't make cars here anymore. So let's replace that with cannabis. Yeah, really. So this is, we're talking no arbitrary restrictions. Anybody who wants to get into the business should be able to. We'll go into that some more. Reforming medical cannabis laws. We're going to go through some specific reforms we have there, and then protecting cannabis users' constitutional rights. So specific legislation.
Specific bills. So some of the bills that are out right now for medical, there's Senate Bill 24. So this one set out to be doctor's choice. Unfortunately, it is not going to leave committee as doctor's choice. They're removing all pediatric, any part where where a physician could determine which pediatric patients would get access, and it also removed the doctor's choice part and made it last resort. So you have to try everything else for a condition before you can try cannabis. Wow. It does add anxiety. However, along with anxiety, they put a little caveat there where you must also, the strains that you get at the dispensary must also have high CBD percentage and dosage, and that's actually not how cannabis works. Sure, that helps, but I mean, there's indicas, there's even certain sativas that are great. So, you know, there's that.
So this is one of those bills. The original intent was to make it so a doctor can prescribe cannabis like any other medication. They just prescribe it. There's no list. There's no list from the state for what you can prescribe OxyContin for. It's up to the doctor's professional opinion, and if they abuse that authority, then they're subject to their board of professional regulations and so forth. There's recourse for that. But it shouldn't be this complicated. We shouldn't be putting the government in between patients and doctors. That's not appropriate. That's a violation of their rights. It's a violation of privacy. So unfortunately, they're trying to gut this bill. Yes.
You're saying that it's last resort.
Last resort.
For the opioids ahead of cannabis?
Yes, unfortunately. And the reason, sir, is because the opposition has come out and said, well, it's not FDA approved. And I said the same thing. I said, you know, OxyContin is FDA approved, and we already know that can cause addiction and death. And so,
There's a lot of pushback on this one from the pharmaceutical companies and from the Medical Society of Delaware.
Yes, they were our largest opposition.
It hasn't been gutted yet. If everybody in here could send an email to Brian Townsend.
Yes.
Him again.
SB 24.
If you want, doctors should be able to decide. Really, this is what it takes. We talked about lobbying. This is lobbying. You have to reach out and say, hey, man, we know what's up. Let it release that bill from committee and let us get a vote in it. Because guess what? They have this is the way it is in California. Okay, that's super left wing, right? No, this is how it is in Utah. This is how it is in Oklahoma. And you're saying we can't do that here? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and all we were seeking, that truly all it was for doctors to decide which conditions they're going to allow, which they're gonna prescribe or recommend cannabis for, but.
Yeah.
So that one got chopped up, so if you could please send an email or a phone call to Senator Brian Townsend, he is chair of the committee.
Which committee is it?
It is the Health and Social Services Committee.
In the Senate?
So, yes.
Yeah.
Up next, we also have SB 59. So what SB 59 set out to do was allow nurse practitioners and physician assistants to prescribe cannabis to their patients. Now, important to understand, right now they can't, it's only physicians and certain specialists that can prescribe, but these nurse practitioners and physician assistants currently can prescribe every other medication under the sun, to include the OxyContin. So all we're doing, is we want to open up access, and not only that, this is one of those, especially for veterans, you have to seek outside sources than the VA to even get a prescription, right? Well, it's not covered by insurance, therefore seeing a physician assistant or a nurse practitioner is actually cheaper. It just opens up access to care. So that did have pediatrics also on it, which is getting stricken out. So this is SB 59. So again, Senator Brian Townsend has them in holding for over a month now.
Yeah, please contact him. And release these bills. Senate Bill 59, it's a companion bill to that, just opens up for more prescribers. Again, they should have these rights. This is the state that's taking rights away from our medical professionals, saying, hey, this helps with this condition, I'm going to prescribe that because that's what my patient needs.
Yeah, there's no other medication like that you have to get your elected official permission for your doctor to prescribe you non-toxic, medication. And so, moving on, so those two are both those bills are stuck in the House.
We need your help.
Yes.
We definitely need your help. If you please reach out.
Yep. And then, so next we have Senate Bill 79. And so anyone that's a firearms, restoring rights to firearms patients with medical cannabis card. So right now, so I have a card. My husband, he has a firearm in the house, lawfully, legally. If I even go like this to it, I just created a felony. So that's not okay. I cannot purchase or possess. And so a firearm because of it, and because of it, a lot of people won't get access to cannabis. So this bill sets out to restore those rights. But there are, of course, because it's still federally illegal, there are still some problems with it. Okay, so if I were to go in and try to purchase a firearm per the NICS form, if I NICS check, I have to answer yes. I will be disqualified. But what this does do, because we can't just do nothing, right? So what this does do is, one, it sends a message, and two, God forbid I ever do need to use my husband's weapon or firearm for any reason, which, by the way, I've never been arrested in my life. I'm a veteran. I have a pretty little ribbon that says I'm a sharpshooter for the military, trained by the DOD. I should be able to, and so that gives me coverage with police. It gives me coverage in the court. So what do you want to add to that?
The biggest thing that 79 does, again, there's still federal prohibitions. There's still that question on the NICS background check form when you go get a background check. And if you answer that untruthfully, that's perjury. That's federal crime. But what this does at the state level, which is super important, well, like she said, it's symbolic and it sends a message, but it prohibits the state from using any resources to prosecute a cannabis patient as a person prohibited. So you will not, if, like Kim said, let's say she shoots a home invader, she will not be charged by the state as a person prohibited because she was using that firearm. So it does provide important protections, and it gets the ball rolling also.
It does.
And this is, again, there's some other states have already done this, so we're following on with them.
So next.
We have, there's also SB 39. That one's just real quick. So that one, SB 39 removes.
It's the expungement bill, right?
Oh, expungement. Yes.
So there's one. This just makes it so if you're a minor, there's an expungement bill, and then there's a bill that removes it, so minors will not be charged with a crime anymore. Just they'll get a fine if they have cannabis, which is great.
39
We're not
also.
trying to destroy minors' lives.
I mean, this is your presentation, so I don't want to step on you too much. But 39 also provides an avenue that doesn't currently exist to get felony charges expunged from your record. Like at this point in Delaware, there's absolutely no way to get a felony charge expunged, even if it's been pardoned by the governor. It still can't be expunged. SB 39 will provide an avenue for that. It's very limited in its scope as far as what can be expunged and how often. But it does provide an avenue for some felonies like possession of a deadly weapon by a person prohibited, which is, you know, anybody who possesses a firearm and cannabis at the same time. Hi, I'm Will. I got arrested for that. To get that expunged from their record. So I'm a big supporter of 39 because it'll actually clean my criminal record off.
Yeah, right on. We need that. Definitely very important. So next, the legalization bill, House Bill 110. Okay. So, that bill seeks to, so it basically wants to, again, I don't like the term legalize either, for adults 21 and older, 1 ounce or less, and it's going to seek to set up 15, we're going to get into all this, 15 retail stores, 50 cultivation and...
So the big HB 110, this is actual, you know, legalization bill.
Yeah.
So this isn't, as far as everybody in this room is concerned, it doesn't change our rights very much, except there'll be a few places we're going to be able to go buy it, and then you're not going to be able to possess it over an ounce. You're not going to be able, or that's still a crime. If you grow it, that's still a felony.
Yep.
You
No
possess
home
over
grow.
a certain amount, that's still a felony. You possess it over a certain amount, you possess a gun, that's still a felony. So it doesn't really, this isn't any kind of, it's kind of a very strange bill, we think. We're not supporting HB 110 unless it's amended. We'll support it with amendments, or we'll support other bills. But the way it stands now, we're going to go through each point on here and kind of tell you about HB 110 and what needs to be fixed, because it does have some significant problems. Yes, sir.
Just real quick, this is still the same HB 110 that was active 2 years ago?
No, sir, that one failed. This
Right.
is a new HB 110, just has the same number assigned to it. Yeah, that's very, very confusing, right?
Why they assign the same number to it, kid?
Because that way nobody had to
They already had
reprocess
the
anything.
stickers
They have all their
on
stickers.
the-
Their
Okay,
signs,
that's
their
why.
there's
They
everything is
already have the
already
stickers
done
on the
for
front
it.
and all the
Right, so that's all stuff. That's a Del Cam number, really.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. So let's go through it. Go ahead.
Same language as the one from 2 years ago?
No, sir. It's different. It is definitely
So
different.
this one,
a few improvements.
A few improvements here, a few walkbacks in other places.
Yes.
That was not a great bill either, but this does make this actually makes some improvements on the bureaucratic side in certain ways, but we'll run through it here. So
First of all, it is not a bipartisan bill. There are no Republicans on board with this bill, and I can tell you we did work on some other bills, and it has extremely strong bipartisan support. But anyway, moving on. So 21 and older, up to an ounce or more, which the Attorney General just came out and said she isn't prosecuting up to 6 ounces. Okay, I have more than an ounce in my house right now. Most people do. No more than 5 cartridges, 5-gram cartridges. So the only thing
We'll strike that out of the minutes.
the only thing.
She's a medical patient.
Yes. No. Yeah. Oh, listen. I was just with
up to 6 ounces.
Yeah. And home cultivation is not allowed. Now, there's a few things that people need to understand. The only thing this will stop arrest for is 1 ounce or less. If you have it, anything more, if you grow it. If any other reason, you're still going to jail. This is actually only going to help a small, very
The
small
only
amount
people
of
that are
people.
going to be able to legally be allowed to grow in this state are a small number of people who will get licenses.
And so let's get into licenses. And if you guys could just bear with me and try to track along here, right? So, because I'm going to explain a few things with that. So with the licenses, they only want to allow 15 retail, 5 testing labs, 50 cultivators, which by the way, it depends on how much square footage you're going to be using. It's highly regulated, down to what kind of security system you have to have, what kind of badge your employees have to have, all kinds of stuff. And 30 product managers. So I'm just going to tell you something right now. So of the 15 retail dispensaries, the 3 existing dispensaries, all in Delaware currently, medical dispensaries, are currently 4, but 2 have 1 open. So 3 companies. all out-of-staters, okay? 3 companies are already allowed a dispensary retail store, 1 in each county. There's 2 more that I know of right now coming to Kent County, and that would be Fresh and First State Compassion Center, okay? So these 15 retail stores they want to give us, that means 9 of them are already taken for, okay? So this is where I have a little heartburn, and you all tell me what you think's going on. So I don't know if you know this legislator. I cannot say his name. He is Assemblyman Raj Mukherjee. He is the majority whip in New Jersey, current majority Democrat whip, and he is the lawyer and partially owns, by the way, out-of-stater, owns a company called Harvest who just bought Fresh. He owns 1/3 of Delaware's dispensaries now.
And this is who's been consulting on
This is who
on
helped
HB 110.
write HB
Yeah, the
110.
current HB 110.
Okay?
So,
So
of
track
the
along.
3 companies,
Yes.
3 of them,
There's more.
they're all out of state. One of them, the first one, they have Mark Lally is their president, who is a Delaware guy, but he's a minority interest holder. They're all out of state corporations. Columbia Care is a larger corporation. They have places all over in the east, I think out west too. And then Harvest, which just bought Fresh, they have multiple dispensaries in New Jersey.
No, all over the place.
Yeah.
They're actually taking over. They're taking over.
So this is who they're trying to give licenses to, not regular people, not just a farmer. A farmer is not going to be able to pop up a greenhouse and put a few hundred plants in there. It will not be allowed under this.
So follow along here, okay? So you now have 9 of these retail stores taken up, okay? In HB 110, there is a line that says, if the state fails to give out any more licenses, they may not be sued. So what this bill and the people who helped write it did was they created they're trying to create a government-funded monopoly.
And the reason they have that in there is because the state was sued for not implementing the medical marijuana program, and that's the only reason we have more than 1 dispensary here is because the state got sued and had to reopen the process back up. Let's compare. So we've got 15, they're trying to give us 15 retail places, so guess what? All these little smoke shops, all these tobacco stores, all these liquor stores, all these guys are already used to dealing with people who are 21 plus. They should be able to sell cannabis. Right. These liquor store owners, they're going to take a hit anyway. Sales-wise, they will. It happens in every state. So they should be able to sell cannabis to make up for it.
8 to 10% sales.
In places, so let's see the difference. Here's what they propose in Delaware. Oklahoma just went medical within the last year. And they have a free market medical system. And what are their numbers there? What are they? This is a state that only has less than 4 million people, so 4 times the amount of people as Delaware.
Oklahoma, first of all, gave their patients home grow, 6 plants. Okay, so their licenses. No, there's no limit to amount of licenses that you can get. The criteria is you must be 25 years or older. You must be a state resident with proof. Operations must have, the people that you have must be 75% of them must also be state residents. They're trying to give jobs to their state people. The fee to get a license, $2,500.
As opposed to $15,000 through HB 110, which is $5,000 as an application fee, non-refundable. You don't get that back, and if you do get accepted, another $10,000.
Right. They're allowed to sell to their patients, which Delaware does not have this. Plants. They can sell do you know how many people?
You can have a nursery, you can sell plants, they can go take it home, grow their own medicine, not have to shell out hundreds of dollars on medicine, they can grow themselves.
Edibles, which would actually help people like me. I don't always want to smoke. Maybe I want some edibles. It's easier on my body and lungs.
And when it comes to the business side, so what do we have? So currently we only have 3 medical growing operations in Delaware, and we have had a law here for 8 years. Oklahoma has it for 1 year. How many?
And they have state license already approved. So for dispensaries, 1,100.
1,100 dispensaries. We have 4.
Growers, 2,057. Processors.
HB 110 is trying to give us 50 growers.
580 processors. And here's the thing, you talk to the people out there, you talk to the owners, And they're all coming on record saying, you know, people are saying, well, aren't you worried about, you know, the market's gonna be saturated, you're all gonna go under, and you know what they say? No, this is how the market regulates itself. I'm gonna have a good product, I'm gonna sell at a good, fair price, we're gonna be friendly here. That's business.
Nobody says there's too many grocery stores,
Exactly.
and apples are
Yeah.
too cheap, and
It's
bread's too
capitalism,
cheap.
baby.
That's
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
We don't wanna end up like Canada,
Right.
where it's $14 from the government store, and it's $7 grand in the street.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
Canadian dollars, so that's like, you know, a lot less.
Kind of on that point, could you guys apply the same litmus that they're using for House Bill 110 to, just since it's a recurring theme today, to like the poultry industry in Delaware, and kind of, do you know relatively how much of a revenue hit that would be for state and local government if we regulated chickens like they're trying to regulate cannabis?
Jeez, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine, I really don't have to try to regulate something like that, I mean, because that's you know, you can build as many chicken houses you want, you have as many chickens as you want, and it's, you know, the market fluctuates, it's just, it goes up, and then when chicken gets too cheap and there's too many, some people go out of business, some chicken houses sit empty. I've had a bunch of chicken house, owners talking to me, they're ready to grow weed in their chicken houses. They're like, really, because guess what, right now, there's a big thing where you've got to upgrade chicken houses and make sure the chickens are happy, and it's expensive, so hey, well, if I'm gonna upgrade, let me throw a bunch of grow lights in here and make some money, you know, grow some plants. We have a lot of farmers, we have so many farmers in this state, all up and down the state, and we would dominate cannabis, not just in Delaware, but it's gonna go across state lines in 4 to 8 years. Like I said, within 200 miles, it's like 50 million people. You know,
Are you not able to find somebody in the legislature that would support a bill more like the LPD?
I believe we have sponsors for these. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we've been meeting with dozens of legislators, both sides, since last September, and we presented what Sam first explained, what we'd like to see here in Delaware. Yes, we had the support, and I'll tell you, that's how we had the Republican support, because, so someone like Senator Benini, he says, so he's my district, he's my senator, I live in Magnolia, and he says, look, if we're gonna do this, then we're not taking half measures, it's not gonna be some monopoly, then let's do this. You have also Senator Del Polo, you have Representative Ramon wanted to be involved in the commercial aspect. We do want more free market. We're not trying to, the way 110 is currently written, it is going to shut out 99.999% of the market.
Well, this sounds like crony capitalism.
Well, yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, honestly, when another legislator's bill fails in New Jersey and he comes here and once our bill starts to get going and he buys over one of the dispensaries, yeah, it sounds exactly like that.
I'm not an OG Delawarean, but isn't that what we refer to as the Delaware way?
That's why the Delaware way is, we don't really. Quick point of information, because I have a bill that I'll give to him, so he'll be able to read it specifically. Sure. The difference between lined and underlined portions.
Yes.
I understand what a strikeout is. What is the difference between those that are not underlined statements?
What's not underlined?
Underlined is the portion that they're adding.
That's it.
And so you'll see like old criminal penalties, like if you do this, you're gonna get a misdemeanor for this. When you see it struck out, that means that's the part that they're removing. They're taking that out of the law, hence ending that prohibition in that area.
And if it's underlined, it's an addition.
If it's underlined, it's an addition, correct. Correct, yes. Okay, so, moving on. So, go ahead, sir.
How does the governor stand on this?
So the governor right now is still a no, but what I guess predictions are from many people across the board are that if a bill were to get to his desk and it had both chamber support and it's got all the support from all Delawareans, 70 whatever percentage now, that he may not sign it, he won't veto it, but it'll go back and then hence made into law.
Yeah, he won't sign it, so after 10 days, I think that it just becomes law after that. So he's not going to put his name on it, but he won't veto it.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on. So, and with that, so a few more things I'd like to talk about when it comes to how they want to do licensing. Let's go into the licensing process. So licenses, how they want to do it is, it's going to be based, so say you're not one of the 9 and you're one of the 6 left, and you want to apply, you have to fill out a survey. And it's going to be a survey scoring process. And it's going to be, are you going to be paying your employees livable wages with benefits? Is it going to be diverse? Is there going to be women? Is there going to be, veterans? And I can tell you right now that as a woman veteran, I appreciate where they're going with that. However, I don't want to work for the man. I want the opportunity to be the man.
That's right,
And
exactly.
so that's kind of how I feel about this scoring process. Okay, no. So moving on. So rules and regulations. So some of the regulations they want to put in there. They want to say, so say you get one of these licenses. They want to come in and tell you what kind of security system you have. And then they want to use our tax dollars to hire people to come check out our security systems to make sure they're right. They want us to tell you what prices you can sell your product at, what days of the week you can be open, and at what time. And this is just ridiculous. This is just too much regulation. Listen, if someone wants to go out there, if you want to start a business, is the government gonna care more about your security system, or are you going to care about that security system? Okay, and you know that that's just the start. They're gonna keep chipping away, keep adding. Another thing, seed to sale tracking. So I get where they're going with that on one hand, but then on the other hand, so you want to make sure seed to sale tracking is so from the time you have the seed, you plant it, all the way through growing, picking, trimming, drying, all that jazz, to getting rolled in a joint, sold at a counter. You need to know exactly which seed and plant that came from. But here's the thing, let me ask you this. How much is that going to cost the business owner? And what computer system are they going to be using? Now tell me this, imagine if you had to do that with cigarettes. Tell me which tobacco plant is in this Marlboro Red, where this came from. Why don't they, and that's a toxic already, will kill you substance.
I've looked at the software, it's not cheap. We're talking like 25, 50,000 to start.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you asked them if they require that sort of documentation for tomato sauce?
Right, see, exactly, we're not
It's not
looking
required for hops.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's outrageous, it's onerous, it's just so many, regulatory wise, and then trying to get into the business, there's huge amounts of restraint of trade, it's unconstitutional, it's restraint of trade, they wanna limit people from getting into it, we dumping the tea in the harbor had a lot more to do with the tax, it had to do that it all had to come through the East India Company.
Yep.
It wasn't just about the tax, it was about, hey, there's other people who wanna ship tea from India.
So then there's some other, really onerous restrictions like edibles. I don't know who in here has ever consumed cannabis, so listen to these. Listen to these limits.
Oh, no one here.
I know, I can tell you guys are actually fun. So 10 milligram edible. It's just, yeah, right? And all this, just, listen, listen, if someone wants a seed to sale tracking, then guess what? Then that person can go to that place, that business that offers that, if that's what they want to do. So like I said, people say it's going to drive down prices. No, it's not. Read the bill. The bill tells them what prices they have to sell at, and if they want to run a sale, they must ask the state for permission. So I just want to move on to a few more things that the media is misleading people. So everyone's saying it's going to be sold at a 15% tax. So let's talk about the transition. So say this bill gets passed. Yes, sir.
Information just before you go on, because you mentioned inspectors, but last number, I know more people that have been driven out of business by inspectors.
Yes.
And I'm serious.
Yeah.
Because they change inspectors and then they change what they look at.
The continuity,
and that's what
yes.
drives out business.
Yes.
It's the cycle of inspectors that will kill you.
That's correct. I actually once did public health inspections for a living, and that is absolutely correct. They just depend on which inspector showed up. Yeah, so let me go over the medical part. So what's the transition of going to legalization going to look like? So all, before we get into it, let me explain something to you about the medical program. Our 3 dispensary owners, so 4 dispensaries, they cannot meet supply and demand.
Any card holders in here? If you're comfortable raising your
So
hand. Yeah.
when I go in
Good
there,
libertarian room. Yeah, that's right.
when I go in
Financial
there,
user.
I can't get what I need. And when I want to buy maybe a higher amount, I can't. It can only be sold to me in eighths and grams because they can sell it at a higher price, okay? So they already can't meet supply and demand. Literally, when I went in there yesterday, what I needed went off the board before I even got to ask. I was like, okay, fine. You know, so that's how it is. Well, what they want to do to this already lacking supply, within 30 days, they want to allow our patient supply to be turned over and sold to recreational consumers at not what the media is saying as 15% tax. That doesn't start for at least a year. At a 25% tax. In the name of money grab, taking from patients. Now let me tell you something about the line when I show up to the dispensary, because you have to get there early if you want to get what you want. You have disabled people. You have a ton of veterans. You have people that need it for seizures. You have people that need it for PTSD. You have people need it for quality of life, and some to survive, some to get through chemo. And you mean to tell me, so you can sell it at a tax, a 25% tax, you're going to take that already lacking supply from those patients and have them go in, and they can't get what they need because someone else got it for a Friday night. We are in no position. Now, I would love to see dual licensing happen if we were in the position. The other states who have done this had a lot of things we don't have. One, they had more than 3 dispensary owners. They had a medical home grow, and they were already able to meet supply and demand. Delaware has none of those things. Okay? And so we can't do it that way. And the thing is, they put so-called protections, okay? Do you know what the protections in place are? Letting the person who's already in charge of the medical marijuana program, already in charge of monitoring supply and demand, they'll monitor when we're getting too low. That person will monitor and report to the state. You really think they're going to tell me, oh, stop, you're not going to make millions of dollars right now because patients are running out. Patients already don't have what they need.
Right. Yeah. Well, we hope you guys will join us in fighting for reform. Really, HB 110, it needs amendments. Please.
Yes.
So you don't have to convince me that HB 110 is a bad bill. What you really have to convince me of, though, is that there's a prospect of getting a better one and getting a better one passed in any reasonable sort of time frame.
Yes. So,
because the way that I see it, Delaware's legislators are corrupt, money-grubbing pieces of shit, and I'm fine with that being on the minutes. And if you want to have a law that's basically going to say, you know what, this was a behavioral economics information cascade failure from 80 years ago that made this plant illegal in the first place. We want a do-over. You know, go grow tomatoes, go grow cannabis. We don't give a crap. I'm right there with you. Like, that's what I think it needs to be. That's what I think it should be. That's what I think we need. But I don't have any sort of optimism that that's what we will ever get without an armed revolution. So what's the prospect of getting something better than HB?
Well, we have some reasonable, first of all, we have some reasonable propositions, like none of them go as far as we want. I mean, they're already full of compromises, but they're much more liberty-minded and free than anything else. Yeah, with those proposals. Really? The amendments that come through, you know, this is going to be, if we get the amendments in, great, let's go for it. If we don't, we have to do just like Ohio did. Ohio had it on the ballot for legalization. It was going to create a cartel, 10 licenses in the entire state. And what did the voters of Ohio do? They voted it down. Tons of legalization advocates voted it down because they said, no, we're not going to stand for this. We'll wait until next year. We'll wait until we get it right. And that's what we're hoping we'll do here in Delaware. We really want to get these amendments in, and we really want to get a bill introduced. I can't promise it's going to be done this year, but this is a law, and it's important because whatever gets passed in the law, we will be stuck with it. Guess what? When the medical law passed, they said, don't worry, we'll have medical homegrown next year.
We'll amend it next year. Don't worry, guys. Let's pass this now.
Have a bill introduced. Thank you guys so much. I know we're running short. Thank you so much guys for coming up.
You guys have a website?
delcana.org. We're on Facebook. There's stickers. Hopefully you guys got some. Grab some. Please sign up. Sign the petition that's on that website. You can get our emails.
Putting it back, sorry.
Thank you so much. Really. Thanks, guys.
Woo.
Keep it up. Keep it up.
Thank you guys for coming out. last year I talked about the need to create partnerships with advocacy groups. Yes, ma'am.
One thing. So this bill is going to committee, and next, yes, sir.
Gotcha.
I just deleted it. I didn't know I couldn't post that. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. So some of the members on that committee that need to hear from you, Representative Viola, Representative Bennett, and Representative Kim Williams. Those three, you need to tell them we need amendments. That's all. Sorry, those
Okay.
three. All right. Thank you.
So I know that we've generally supported Delaware Normal, Delcana as a distinct organization separate from those guys. But this is a huge area in which like I said, we're making some headway. We're stepping back a little bit, kind of going against what we believe is the right use of government and the cronyism. But I definitely encourage you to go and take a look at their website, contact their offices if you're interested in helping them lay the groundwork for legitimate cannabis reform here in Delaware. And likewise, I hope you guys will at least.
Do you have an article from Sean on the website?
What's that?
Do we have an article from you on the website?
Oh yeah. I did publish an article regarding natural rights and cannabis reform on their website. So I kind of spaced out a little bit. And then you guys have a documentary coming out. Is that correct?
It's in the works.
It's in the works.
We have a whole lot of footage. So what we did was we went around and we spoke to Delawareans of all walks of life and asked them what they think about, cannabis and firearms and medical and access and this and that. And we're putting together we have lots of legislators on there who spoke, and we're gonna just put something together to really show how it is, what's going on.
Okay.
So.
Perfect. So hopefully we'll see that relatively soon, and being aligned with a lot of the natural rights that you guys are interested in, the right to do with your body and your property as you want, whether it's home grow, things like that. We definitely hope that we have your guys' support for candidates in the future, because getting the right people into these different positions within government will help kind of abate a lot of the aggression that's been perpetuated by government. Mr. Fox?
Point of information on advocacy. I know between a third and 50% of the members of the Delaware General Assembly, and my one question to all of them, whatever their backgrounds are, whatever the issue is, what is most influencing you? Is it letters? Is it letters to the editor? Is it talk radio? Is it what? And every single one of them, without an exception, the worst thing you can do is do a form letter and just have somebody sign. I mean, they appreciate petitions, but replications of letters after 5 are going in the can. I'm telling you this straight up. The most effective, they all agree, is face-to-face. Go see not just your own representative, senator, etc. Go down the road, and they will speak with you face-to-face. You'll find time, it takes time, but they know that you represent a tip of an iceberg that's willing to do this. It's inconvenient for you, and they multiply that out, and that's what gets most attention. That, for example, is the Delaware gun rights, and they did it with 2 major rallies, and after the second rally, it ended 4 gun control, and that is real, and that was reported on the news. So if you want to have impact, it's face-to-face with these people.
Well, DGR and 30 grand from the NRA and 20 grand from the SSA. Man, it's a 3-legged stool.
Right.
All right, so next item on the agenda is going to be a 15-minute recess. Before we go, once again, I'd like to thank Alex, Kim, Sam, Cameron, all for coming out and speaking with us. Let's give them another round of applause. Alex, I know you're kind of you're right stuck here, so you're probably not going to go anywhere. You guys are more than welcome to come back after the recess and watch the rest of our business meeting. But we definitely appreciate you guys coming back if you decide you want to take off during the recess. So thank you very much. It's 2:40. We'll come back. We'll call it an even 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
So we'll take a 20-minute recess.
Cool.
Have you seen The Room?
What?
Have you seen the movie The Room?
No.
The worst movie ever made?
We always joked that it was Ishtar.
No. It's Tommy Wiseau made this movie. Nobody knows where he's from. Nobody knows how he got his money. But he made this movie for $6 million. Terribly acted. There's picture frames that randomly have like. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it. I know of it. I want to see it.
Yeah, I saw it for the first time probably 2 months ago.
Cool.
I went to a viewing for the first time I ever saw it in theaters, and people were throwing spoons, and like people started, I guess people had not been to it. Like I didn't know this, but I think do it like.
Oh, did you wear your hat today?
And somebody went and magic.
You didn't wear your hat to your cat.
Don't you go off that step. Are you on television?
Are you taking over the convention?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We still have a couple of folks out in the lobby, but I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting back to order. About 5 minutes late. Habitually running behind.
Anybody want a ticket for the wine before we draw? Last chance.
Going once, going twice. Boo.
And you burn.
All right. So,
I think we made $50 to get to the theater.
Hey.
nice. All right. So, get your tickets ready, and do we want to?
Will's not a wine drinker. He didn't buy one, so I'll let him draw it.
Okay. So we have an impartial ticket puller.
Is it pink or red?
It is red. It is 444-749.
749 people, 749.
That's me. Do you want to verify?
So I'm getting reelected as secretary now, right? For sure.
It's
That's what you get waiting for the last minute to buy a bottle.
right.
Take it. I mean.
Oh,
Well,
this
thank
is
you,
quite an
everybody.
honor.
Thank you, everybody that donated.
It really is my lucky day. For those of you who haven't heard, I won $500 in Mega Millions last night. So,
Really? 500?
yeah,
Good. That's
honest engine. You can't make this stuff up.
Did you also stay at a Holiday Inn Express?
I did not. I might have had we stayed any longer after the meet and greet with Alex last night. Is that right? Come here.
You know, I should have just invited you back to my place. I don't think that would be fine.
Oh, I think Tara would have been even more mad than she was that I came home at 2:30 in the morning. So before we start with the rest of our agenda items, during the recess, Alex Merced has graciously agreed to donate 4 books for sale or auction directly to him, which he will in turn donate to the party because campaign finance laws, we can't hold raffles or auctions to raise revenue for the party directly. So we're kind of laundering money through our LNC vice chair. Yeah!
I'm not sure that auctions are prohibited, but I'm pretty sure that raffles are.
So, if you'd like to come up and give kind of a brief overview of your book, and then, it's kind of a short notice thing, so however we want to work it.
Either
So-
way, campaign finance is all about money laundering, so this is
Right.
good.
Yeah. So bottom line, I'm gonna do this a little bit differently than I've done in a lot of the other states, but just to kind of get you through this. Like, as you know, I'm from New York, and another libertarian I know from New York is Larry Sharp. So I've known Larry for years, and although over the last year, probably we see each other more out of state than we do in state, crossing paths at all these state conventions. But I was watching like auction off stuff. So over this year, I've been learning to do my best Larry auctioning off stuff. Okay? So and sometimes Larry's auctioned it off, but basically in Pennsylvania, in Iowa, this book was auctioned off for $80. Okay? In Pennsylvania, actually first we'll do Connecticut. Connecticut was auctioned off for I think 180. And then in Pennsylvania it was auctioned off for over 200. And then in California, the book was auctioned off for over 300.
This is Delaware.
So we'll start the bidding at 2 chickens.
But today, instead of an auction, what we'll do is just, if you donate $30 to the Libertarian Party of Delaware, you get a copy of the book, autographed by me. And if you're willing to donate $50, come back, bring it back to me, and I'll write any vulgarity that you want in the book. You will have not only a copy of the book autographed by me, but you also have the very, very rare vulgarity for myself.
You also have leverage if you ever runs for president.
There you go. So just so you know, so these will be out there. I'll leave you the example. I'll get $30 donation for a copy, $50 you get. And it goes to the Libertarian Party of Delaware. So it's going to go to help candidates in Delaware, help you guys. Perfect.
Hypothetically, in there as a vulgarity, taxation is the price we pay to live in a civilized society.
Sure.
I'll write some vulgar shit, but I don't think I'd write that.
Taxation's theft, baby.
Perfect. All right. So thank you, Alex, for that gracious donation. So, like I said at the beginning when we did the agenda, we're going to kind of go a little bit out of sequence from what we normally do. We actually have a little bit more of an expanded awards presentation. And this year the state board, I don't know if you can read it over her forehead, but the state board created a Lifetime Achievement Award, and this is, we identified 2 people this year who have spent a very significant portion of their lives here in Delaware advancing the ideals of liberty, and so we wanted to recognize those 2 people, and unfortunately neither of them are, thank you. Oh, you know what? Here, this might help. There you go.
Good.
Hi, sorry, Miss Julia. So we wanted to recognize these 2 individuals, and unfortunately, neither one of them are here today. One of them passed away. Was it earlier this year? It was in January. I wasn't sure if it was the end of last year or this year. So real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. The first Lifetime Achievement Award I have was our first nominee. Oh,
no.
Sorry, sweetheart. Is for Mr. Tom, and it's Uffner? Uffner. Okay. I'm horrible with remembering names. Any of you who've dealt with me a bit know that it may have taken me a couple months to remember, but I wanted to make sure I got the pronunciation right. And unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to meet Mr. Uffner. He was battling with cancer for quite a while as I was transitioning into the party as I retired from the Air Force. But I have had a chance to talk to a handful of people who've been able to tell me of some of the impact that Tom Uffner's had on the Libertarian Party. He was a member of the party from the 1980s. So he was a member of the party for probably the better part of 25, 30 years. And he was really instrumental in the advent of the internet and social media. He was instrumental in creating a footprint online for the Libertarian Party of Delaware. And he spent a lot of time getting our information out there. Beyond that, from what I understand, he was a very personable individual. He met people on their level, and he really had a passion for delivering the message of liberty in ways that were very specific and unique to the people that he interacted with. And so, we really wanted to honor his memory by presenting him, unfortunately posthumously, a Lifetime Achievement Award, the first ever from the Libertarian Party of Delaware. So, unfortunately, I don't think he has any family here today, but we will coordinate with the folks up in Newcastle County and make sure that we can get this to his family, just as a token of our thanks for the years of service and dedication that he put in for the Libertarian Party, and we are truly grateful for the service that he's done for us. The second Lifetime Achievement Award is for somebody that my first interaction with was, for me personally and developmentally, it was great. And you may remember it from the 2014 convention. I asked for the nomination to run for governor, and he was the only dissenting vote. 2016.
Anthrax.
I am always doing that. So in 2016, I can never remember what year it is right now either. I asked for the nomination for governor, and by and large, I got the support of the party, but Bob Wilson was the only dissenting vote. And
That's what Bob does.
no, and a lot of people, being introduced into the party like that, I was relatively new. I'd never run a political campaign before. I was hoping to run against Beau Biden, who passed away, so I got stuck with John Carney. But
so did we.
True story. But a lot of people would be like, all right, who's this crazy old guy who's like, oh, screw that hippie, I don't want him on my ticket. But I saw it as a preservation of the principles of liberty and a preservation of the ideals that we all hold very dearly. And if you take a look at all of our founding documents from the Libertarian National Party and the Articles of Association, all of it comes down to we are legitimately the party of not just what we believe, but how we act on what we believe. And Bob didn't know me, and I didn't hold it against him, but I took it as a personal challenge to rise up and meet his expectations for representing those ideals of liberty. And I hope, I haven't had a chance to ask him today, but I hope I've been able to live up to that as a candidate for governor and now as the state chair for the Libertarian Party of Delaware. But Bob, like all of you know him, he's a little bit salty, he's very opinionated, but he is absolutely hands down been 100% dedicated to the Libertarian Party of Delaware. He's got our name printed on the side of his classic Roadster, and he takes it to parades, he takes it to community events, and he makes sure that our name gets out there, and it's some old school advertising. But he, just like Tom, has dedicated a very significant amount of his time, energy, and effort into ensuring the success of the Libertarian Party. And so we wanted to present him as well with the Lifetime Achievement Award, because we think it's important to make sure that people know that the work they're putting into advancing our ideals, into getting people elected, into maintaining ballot access, into all of the hard work that they're doing, people are getting recognized for that. And this is just a small way for us to say thank you for a huge amount of work that both Bob Wilson and Tom Huffman have given to the party. So again, thank you to both of them, and we'll give both of these certificates to Newcastle, and hopefully they make their ways to their intended recipients. So yeah, round of applause for Bob as well. And then the William Morris Award, the Bill Morris Award. Bill Morris was a founding member of the Libertarian Party of Delaware back in 1972. And so his name is on the award that we give to individuals who put in a very large amount of hard work and dedication over over the course of the year between conventions. And this year, I really wanted to take the time to recognize our State Secretary, Mr. William McVeigh, especially because he was so instrumental in our transition from trying to mediate an internal conflict to a pro se court case, getting the result that we wanted despite not getting the actual technical win. And I don't want to mitigate the work that Nadine put into that as well. But Will actually provided a lot of the research, technical guidance into the finer nuances of the law. He provided a lot of the direction forward for how we were to proceed. And despite the fact that we had that conflict, I was actually talking to Dale last night, and he gave me some great news that he actually met with two of the three individuals who were involved in that, and actually had decent conversations with those folks. And when Alex talks about healing, Will was kind of the hand to the soul and the intention of the state board when we didn't want to harm the party as a whole as a result of setting precedent. We didn't want to create unnecessary conflict with the folks who had engaged in this stuff with us, and so Will was incredibly invaluable as a resource and as a participant in this entire process. And he has over the last year made my life as chair of the Libertarian Party of Delaware incrementally easier than it would have been otherwise. No. That's dilatory.
Feel the ruling of the chair.
So it's with a lot of gratitude on behalf of the Libertarian Party of Delaware, and really a lot of heartfelt personal gratitude that I want to present you with the William Morris Award for 2019.
I don't remember if there's any sort of tradition about, acceptance speeches or whatever, so I'm just going to say thanks. I appreciate it. I know I haven't always been as dedicated as I possibly could be to the party, what with all of my other responsibilities, which you've seen running around the theater today. But I think it was really quite incredible what we did in suing the Department of Elections for the second time in my career with the Libertarian Party of Delaware. The first time being when I first came in the door and tried to crash both of the primaries. But we were able to make our battle with the state instead of making our battle with the other members of fundamentally our party. I mean, even though that we obviously disagreed with them, and I'm not sure if any of them are still registered libertarian today, but at the time they were still libertarians, and the idea of us fighting amongst ourselves was really, in my mind, more destructive than us fighting against the state. So we fought against the state instead of fighting other libertarians. And as Sean said, we didn't exactly get the strongest result we could have from the judge, but at the end of the day, we got our candidates on the ballot as soon as we filed basically the complaint. So we got what we needed to get, and I'm glad that I could be of assistance in helping get us to that point. And I hope that if anything else comes up along those lines or any other lines, that the Libertarian Party of Delaware knows they can count on me. Thank you.
All right, so real quick, just so you don't scratch it up. There we go. So again, thank you to Tom Uffner, to Bob Wilson for their achievements over the course of the last couple of decades, and of course to Will for his assistance over the last year. And that definitely goes back beyond the scope of just the last year, but we definitely wanted to recognize you for your help and your contributions to the party. So again, you have my heartfelt thanks and the thanks of the party. Okay, so you'll have to forgive me 1 second.
Did Julia break the computer?
Yeah, she broke it horribly. No, it's all right. So now on to the meat and potatoes of kind of what we're here for. It's time for election for members of the state board, and this is my first time doing it. So please be gentle, be kind. Hopefully not too much heckling today.
Point of order.
Overruled.
Throw something at you.
I've got one of the heaviest things in the room right here, so I mean, don't start some shit with me.
All right, so the first office we're going to be considering for election is the office of treasurer, currently held by Miss Mary Pat McVeigh, who's done an impeccable job. So I'd like to ask Mary Pat, are you interested in maintaining that position?
Yes.
Okay.
I nominate Mary Pat McVeigh.
So we actually have a nomination for Mary Pat McVeigh for the position of treasurer, which is seconded and accepted by the candidate themselves. Do we have any other nominations or volunteers for the position of treasurer?
Move to close nominations and accept Mary Pat McVeigh by acclamation.
All right, we have a motion to close the nomination procedures and accept the nomination of Mary Pat, or the election of Mary Pat. Second, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mary Pat. And I know that as we're coming into another election season, it's going to get a little bit hairy for Mary Pat. If you are fiscally inclined, I'd encourage you to reach out to Mary Pat and see if you can offer any assistance and try and learn some of the campaign finance reporting system. Because as the state treasurer, it's not just incumbent for campaign finance reporting for the state party, but Mary Pat also volunteers a massive amount of time for individual campaigns, helping candidates and candidate committee treasurers navigate the CFRS system as well. So she's a small lady, but she's got a huge brain, and if we can kind of spread that knowledge and kind of lend her a little bit of assistance during the campaign season, and the same thing for candidates who've already run. If you can help her out as well as help us develop that candidate guide so that we can put out a physical product that'll help guide people through it, that'll take some of the responsibility and weight off of Mary Pat's shoulders over the course of the 2020 election. So I appreciate that, ma'am.
Talking about this, what I think I might try to do is for next year when campaign finance becomes a big thing for candidates, is I might try to develop some kind of a little study guide or outline of what steps you need to do when you file your campaign finance.
Right.
With the dates and, when you go online, this is the first step you need to do, and then you need to do this step. And
You know what we should do? We should make some tutorial videos.
Okay. All right. Will is volunteering his time to help me make some tutorials.
We have our first volunteer, ladies and gentlemen.
YouTube.
Thank you for your help, Mary Pat. So the next office we have up for election is the office of secretary for the state party, currently held by Mr. William McVeigh, or William Morris Award winner. Mr. McVeigh, are you interested in maintaining your seat?
I would like to nominate Dale Thomas, the secretary of the Newcastle County Party, to succeed me in that position. I have absolutely no problem with continuing the role if somebody wants to twist my arm, but at the end of the day, I don't keep very good notes. I record things on my phone and then forget to transcribe them. Secretary is not really the best job for me, I don't think. So I think that Dale would be a phenomenal candidate to fill that role. He's expressed an interest in doing that at the last Newcastle County meeting, so if he will accept the nomination, I think that we should nominate him and elect him.
Before we take a second, Mr. Thomas, do you accept the nomination?
2 years ago, I was nominated for secretary, and just being new with the party, I had to turn it down. Wendy graciously offered me water, so I'll take it now if that's okay with you. But yes, this time around, after being secretary with Newcastle County and getting to know all of you very well, and growing the party, I graciously and humbly accept. Thank you very much.
Okay, and we have all right. So we have a second. Do we have any other individuals who would like to volunteer or nominate somebody else for the chair of secretary for the Libertarian Party of Delaware? Okay.
Move to close nominations and accept Dale by acclamation.
All right, we have a second to the motion. I'm trying to catch a lot of that, but he moves so quickly and my hearing is so bad. We have a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we have Mr. Thomas abstaining from the election, or from So, Mr. Thomas, congratulations for your election to Secretary for the Libertarian Party of Delaware.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And you've been a great secretary for Newcastle County.
He has.
He's been phenomenal.
Thank you very much, and I'll
He's
do
been
my.
phenomenal.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and I'll do my absolute best. And if I'm not, get on my case. You know.
Oh, we will.
Okay, good. Great. The problem solved. Thanks.
Remember when I told you that if we elected you, we wouldn't throw you to the wolves? That was a lie.
That was a lie.
We're gonna chew you up and tear you apart. No,
But they're cute and cuddly.
they are. All right. So our next office for election is the office of Vice Chair, currently held by Mr. Brad Thomas. Brad, are you still interested in maintaining that seat?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any other individuals who'd like to volunteer or nominate for the office of Vice Chair? No? Okay, so I'd like to nominate Brad Thomas.
Point of order.
behalf. Sir.
Chair can't nominate people.
Oh, you know what?
I'll nominate.
Good point. Good
I'll
point.
nominate Brad.
All right, so we have a nomination and a second. You're right. I should have turned it over to Brad so I could step down on the floor, nominate, and then come back up and.
Well, that would have also been a point of order because then he'd be managing his own election.
Do that for the chair.
Right. Okay. So good information to have for the next office. So we have a nomination. We have a second.
I move to close nominations and accept Brad Thomas by acclamation.
All right. We have a motion. We have a second. Is that a second? All in favor of Brad Thomas for Vice Chair? Any opposed? All right. None opposed. Motion passes with Brad Thomas as the only abstention. All right. So,
Chair.
Brad, would you like to
You're gonna have to take over now.
come up? Thank you for reminding me of our parliamentary procedure. Since I'm the sitting chair, I can't conduct the procedure for my own nomination, so I give the floor to Brad Thomas for the election of the chair.
Sean, are you willing to stand as chair again?
If the Libertarian Party of Delaware will have me, I'd be happy to.
I nominate Sean Goward whether he likes it or not.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, is anyone else willing to run for a nomination for state chair?
No biggie, Scott, no?
Okay.
Move to close nominations and accept Sean by acclamation.
Bob nominated none of the above.
Oh, I mean, none of the above is technically always an option. We can.
Yeah,
vote
no
on
is
it.
always an option.
He nominated, did anyone second it?
It doesn't necessarily need to be seconded, but you can repeat
I'll
the
second
motion.
it.
Well, the nomination was seconded. The motion for acclamation was put forward. And I think that in the case of an individual running unopposed, a no vote is considered a vote of none of the above.
That is how the Articles of Association are written, I believe.
So if you aren't happy with me and I am not elected, then Brad Thomas will be acting chair for the Libertarian Party in his capacity as vice chair. However, I apologize for taking the floor. Mr. Thomas, please proceed.
Okay.
There's a seconded motion on the floor for closing nominations and accepting Sean by acclamation.
Okay, second. Okay, all in favor of keeping Sean Goward as state chair, say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Okay, Sean,
Point of
congratulations.
information, it was unanimous, including the other nominee.
All right, point of order. I got to do this because it's been happening a couple times. The point of information is for asking for information, not providing information.
Okay, well, congratulations.
If you want to provide information, you just have to ask the chair for
Thank you
permission to
very
have
much.
the floor.
Okay.
That's why I always phrase my providing of information in the form of a question, like, "Hey, Mr. Chair, isn't it true that this thing that I absolutely know is true?"
Well, you never know, and we can provide them for the county elections as well if that comes down to it. So I appreciate your confidence in me as state chair. I was hoping that I'd at least irritate somebody enough to get one no vote, just because Bob gave me the one token the one time, and I kind of love and cherish that. So
Julia voted against you.
Okay, perfect. So the only member of the Libertarian Party of Delaware Baby Caucus voted against me, so we're good.
The only present member.
What's that?
The only present member of the
Yes,
Baby Caucus.
there
Oh,
are other members of the
you're right.
military
I'm sorry.
Baby Caucus, but they're
I-
at the beach this weekend.
I stand corrected. All
She
right.
didn't like your sunglasses, so I mean.
No, apparently not.
So make sure you don't step, nobody steps on you.
Right, I'll pick those up in just a moment. All right, so real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to recess into individual counties for election at county offices, or for county offices. So I think it's going to depend on your individual county, but same offices, as well as 2 representatives in accordance with the Articles of Association and bylaws for the specific county itself, 2 representatives to the state board. Do we have any questions on that
I just have
process?
a question. If you are the county chair, I know that in Newcastle County, that automatically makes you one of the 2 representatives. Is there anything in the Articles of Association for any of the other counties that says the county chair cannot be the representative?
No.
Okay,
No.
If there was, then Newcastle County would conflict with that, and that'd be a problem.
okay. But the other counties don't have their own thing?
They don't have,
that
the other counties don't have the requirement. Newcastle County is the only one with the
Right.
requirement, but there is no prohibition.
Okay.
So yeah, the Articles of Association for the state are ambiguous on to who the counties select to represent them at the state board. So I ask you to do due diligence in selecting members for the for representatives for the state board, as well as officers of the county affiliates. So if there's no other questions, before we break out.
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
Sure.
Is it true that the county chairs are all automatically members of the social media and marketing committee?
Yes. I'm being told yes by my secretary.
No, you're secretary.
I'm still the secretary until the convention closes.
Oh, is it? Okay, my apologies.
Read your Robert's rules, buddy. Stop trying to take over my goddamn spot.
1,000 apologies.
Look at me, I'm the captain now.
I'm the secretary now.
So last point before we break out, just locations for meetings. We'll go from north to south. Newcastle, do you have a particular area you'd like
We
your?
usually hang out in this corner here.
Okay, Newcastle County will be in this general corner over here. Kent County?
We're gonna meet back in the lobby because I want to go check on my daughter.
Okay, Kent County will be out in the lobby to check on your daughter. This Sussex County. Sussex will be right here. We'll consider ourselves recessed at the end of the elections. If the current county chair can come let me know the results of that election, so that we can just write it down and have it on the record. But I appreciate that.
You usually put tickets in recycling and trash. Yeah.
County recess.
County elections.
And Dominic's not here.
I haven't kept your back here in the box. Oh, okay. Okay, I got a couple scattered around
So
here.
I don't
think
know
it'll
if
be
he
all right.
wants to keep his spot or not. I hereby call the Kent County Libertarian Party of Delaware affiliate meeting for 2019 to order. First order of business, we are going to elect Amy Money Mo secretary. You're the secretary right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Will you stay the secretary?
If you want me to.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you need somebody to do it.
Huh?
You need somebody
Unless
to do
somebody
it.
else wants to do it.
Unless somebody else is interested in signing the paper. I mean, you could even sign the paper.
Signing the paperwork since we don't take minutes.
Or
Anybody
Jim
can.
has never been able to do anything because of the fact that he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
working and he didn't feel comfortable doing it. As secretary, all I have to do is come to the meetings, and you're at the meetings anyway, and then sign the paperwork for candidates.
Yeah, I could do that.
You want to be secretary?
Sure.
You want to give up secretary?
Sure.
All right, I nominate Tim Sprong as secretary of our party.
I'll second.
All right, any other nominations?
You can't do it, you're not old enough. I can help you, son, but
I don't
until
think,
you
I don't think
vote.
the COE.
I'll make a motion that we accept him and however you.
Everything- everything
Close
Will said.
nominations and
Accept him by
accept by
acclamation.
acclamation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I abstain.
Okay. Well, you made it anyway. All right, next is treasurer. Mary Fat's currently the treasurer. Are you
I'll
willing to keep
stay
doing
as
it?
treasurer.
Is there anybody else who wants to keep doing it? All right, nominations, motions, whatever anybody wants to do. Move along. This is taking way too long in the county meeting. We're supposed to be done and buying beer by now.
Okay, so what's?
Somebody needs to nominate you, or somebody needs to make a motion.
that's right.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the formality of the rules and proceed without the parliamentary procedure.
Oh, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're good. Okay, who else wants to do stuff?
Well, what about the county chair? Are you gonna stay on as county chair?
I'll stay on this county chair, yeah.
All right, we need representatives for the.
All right, well, am I staying on this county chair?
Oh, yeah.
We're
We never had a
dispensing
vice
with,
chair, we don't have enough people.
we're
to do
dispensing
that.
with procedure, but like that doesn't mean I get to just claim things.
I can act as vice.
Well,
chair.
Dominic has been acting as vice chair,
Right.
but he hasn't really been coming to the meetings.
Right.
And he's not here now, so, okay, are you? you're
I can
for-
act as vice.
All right.
Vice chair.
All right, yes.
Hypothetically, is that something that we can let you fill the role of until we have like a full county meeting? I mean, is this the full county meeting?
This is the full, I mean, we can replace you.
can
If someone
replace
comes
you.
to the next meeting and says they want to be vice chair, we're like, all right, well, we'll just resign Sean because he sucks anyway.
Okay, no, I'm good with that.
Okay, what about representatives? We need-
So yeah, the last item of business is we need state board representatives. Because I gave up my spot as secretary, I am now technically no longer on the state board at all, so I would like to do that.
I would nominate Will as the state board
I'll second.
representative.
All right. We also get a second one. The current ones are Dominic and Jesse. Dominic is not here. I am the chair, so I can't make nominations, but I would suggest.
I'll nominate Jesse.
Second.
Are you willing to keep doing it?
I'm willing to keep doing it, but just keep in mind that there's a less than zero chance that I won't remain a libertarian through the next election cycle.
Well, is this for the purpose of strategic primary voting, or is it because fuck you and your party?
And well, I wouldn't go quite that far, but it's primarily strategic voting, but maybe more.
Because I mean, you can get sanctioned from the state board to do that.
So I mean, I'll take the task on, and if Dominic starts showing up more and you want him to do it, that'll be fine.
All right. So we've got two candidates. We've got
Let's put
two
it this way, I
spots.
won't sabotage the party as a representative on the board.
All right. We've got two candidates. We've got two slots. If somebody wants to say we're done, we're done. I'm the
I make
chair.
a motion that we're done with the approved.
Is there a second?
All right, so we got
Is there a second?
second.
Okay. We good? Everybody good?
I make
Everybody
a motion that
complaining?
we're good. Everything's copacetic.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Right. We adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. What's that?
No, technically we probably could, but.
What?
Because our meetings are basically, we vote on whether or not the party's gonna pay for the beer, we do our town meeting. And then, we talk about.
Just curious.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
We're more formal
can you
for
read that through Julia scribbling?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
For the state board,
You're
VC.
but for the county board, we don't.
VC and the MP on the DL with
Okay,
the, you get KP and LMNOP.
there you go.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Sean, somebody a second.
Sure.
Now that we've got a distinction between the Lifetime Achievement Award and the $1 Million Award, we ought to make the Lifetime Achievement Award the Jim Conn Lifetime Achievement Award. After Jim Conn died, we voted to establish an award in his name, and then never got around to instantiating that.
Okay, I never heard of him, so.
Yes,
yeah,
and I told you about him.
Okay, but I never met him, that's what I
the guy
can
who
say.
died in the plane crash.
He had
Oh,
been
that's
at
right,
various
that's
times state chair and county chair and co-editor with his sister of the.
He was also the guy whose name was on the mailbox initially.
Oh, okay, that's where I heard of it. Yes, you're right, I did hear about it.
Sister Terry's name is still on it.
Okay, I never met him is what I meant. Yeah, I do remember each other, so we can do that, we can change that.
Yeah.
Can you write that on the back so that we can write just the spelling Jim?
Theo, Jim?
Jim, yeah. more formally, I guess it was James, but he's Jim.
Well, if everybody knew him as Jim.
C-O-N-C-H?
No.
And
C-O-N-K.
N-K, yeah, that's right.
C-O-N-K, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
For the Lifetime
Achievement Award.
We already printed out certificates and everything, right? Is that what we were handing out?
Yeah.
And they just say Lifetime Achievement Award?
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
starting next year when you print.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is that the William Morris Award is intended to be an annual award. Like, we pick somebody each year who's made an outstanding contribution, whereas the Lifetime Achievement Award is more of a, okay, there's some, specific thing that justifies a Lifetime Achievement Award. So that's, I think, a lot of the reason why this might be a problem and why I want to make a specific motion before we close the convention, just so that we can get something on record. That even though the certificates may say Lifetime Achievement Award, we're going to call them, in publicity or on the website or whatever, Jim Con Libertarian.
Well, how many certificates have already been printed?
Two. Just the two. This is the first time we've
Yeah,
done
well,
it.
I'm not suggesting that they should be changed retroactively.
Right, and I'm not saying that they will be. I'm just saying, like,
for the future.
Yeah,
right.
for the future, and I mean that's something that, like I said, we can add to, as an agenda item to the next state board meeting and
Right.
do that for
That's
future.
something else that
awards.
before we
In
all
fact,
bring.
we did award one Jim Concord Terry.
Okay, that was before my time.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't, because like I said,
I was thinking
I
in
never
terms of
met
creating
him.
as much of a record as possible. Because I mean, if this was a thing already and it's just been forgotten, and
Forgotten.
It's just
Okay.
a memory hole of the party, then the more we can do to kind of reinforce it now and make sure.
Okay.
So the next time we do decide to issue one, someone's like, oh yeah, I remember there was we did that before.
Right.
There's something on the website about it. And
And
whatever.
And as we start to turn over with like the candidate guide and the CFRS guide, one of the things I like to do is kind of set up binders for each of the offices, kind of like an Air Force continuity book, just so that we have kind of a working record of responsibilities,
And
kind of
there's
a how
an
to.
OI operating.
Yeah, and that way it gets passed from one person to the next, and they can add their own notes and things
Okay.
like that, so that there's the continuity and whatnot between
Right.
people. All right,
I'm
I'm gonna
Papa and Grandma.
head
Yeah.
back in and.
Yeah.
Did you get any takers?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Sit down. You want
Oh,
pencil?
okay.
Books are right here now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Did we get takers?
Not yet, but everybody kind of
Okay.
broke up.
Yeah,
So you might
yeah,
want to
we're
remind
slowly
them
kinda
before
look.
they leave,
Yeah, we can do that. And
because we had a bunch of other stuff, and then people broke up
Not
in
yet.
groups, and I walked out with them. So.
Oh, I'm picking up a sandwich, so all of a sudden you want one and have to have one, and of course that means I can't eat one. Here, you want the tomato?
Oh, you're talking to her.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm not quite that sarcastic with adults. I don't know that well. My child, on the other hand, every day. Oh, you don't want the tomato now?
Wow, see.
Don't fuss at me. I'm getting it for you. Your mouth is not even that big. Don't whine at me until I'm squishing it. No, I'm going back this way. We're not ready to go yet. It's a party after all.
Did you guys already do state officers?
Yeah.
What?
You already did state officers?
Mm-hmm.
Quick. State officers, you did state.
None of them were contested.
You're looking at me like you know what I'm saying. He's saying yeah, and you're looking at me like I have to say it again, even though he just answered
I can't hear
it.
you very well, Jeff.
I know. So Dale is now the secretary?
Mm-hmm. Which is why I needed to take over.
The real job of the secretary is to sign the nomination papers, that's open, you really need a secretary.
Yeah. But I mean, technically, we really should have a secretary.
You can't do nominations.
State board meetings and
Yeah.
being transparent and stuff. I suck to that. Not because I'm trying to hide anything, just because I'm too fucking lazy to type up minutes.
Type minutes are so 20th century.
I mean, I was honestly thinking about, like, can I just record them and post the recording and be like, listen to it or don't or something?
There you go. That makes sense in this day and age. Oh, that's cheap.
Like, you want the minutes, but listen to the recording, leave me alone.
My glass right here. Make sure it does not disappear. You got a sandwich? She went that way.
Well.
I'm going now.
You want now?
Yeah, my ride's gotta go.
Alright, thanks for coming.
Is there much left on the agenda?
No. Oh crap, I forgot to pause the recording. Speaking of recording things.
Just real quick, you guys know who your chairs and secretaries and treasurers and vice chairs are, and I'll get that information from you for a bit, but for the sake of the entire party, Kent County's representatives to the state board are Mr. Will McVeigh and Mr. Jess McVeigh. Newcastle County, your appointees are the county chair?
Yes, the county chair, which is Ms. Nadine Frost,
Okay.
and our representative to the county, or to the state, excuse me, Mr. John Shirk.
Okay. All right, and Sussex County, your two representatives?
Two representatives, I'm one of them. Yeah.
You can vote!
I can vote, yes!
At long last.
It's about time.
Your lifetime dream has finally come true.
You've been doing it anyway, so I mean, now you might as well take it out. All right, it's official now.
Right.
Yeah. So Jimmy and
I'm gonna. Vern left. He did say he's willing to take any position that we offered to him. I'm gonna. What I'm probably gonna do. Can I do this at the county meeting? Actually elect him in officially?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, you can go ahead and elect him officially.
Okay.
At that,
Well, dude, I'm gonna
so we'll leave the seat on the board vacant until until election at the county.
Yeah.
party.
So what I'll do is I'm gonna call him tonight after
Okay.
get out here and hang out, whatever. I'm gonna call him tonight, make sure he's cool with it, and then when he comes to the Sussex meeting, which will be June 10th, then he can.
All right. So Mr. Outgoing Secretary, if you could just note for the purpose of the minutes for the 2019 convention that Sussex is leaving one chair on the board vacant until election at the next Sussex County meeting, at which point we will amend the minutes to reflect a new member at the next meeting of the State Board of the Libertarian Party of Delaware.
I just took super diligent notes of that fact by recording it.
Are we gonna announce the other office?
We can.
Yes, we should.
Would you like to announce?
Yes,
for
in Kent County, the secretary is going to be Tim Sprong. The treasurer is going to remain Mary Pat McVeigh. The vice chair is going to be our state chair, Sean Goward. The county chair is going to continue to be me, Will McVeigh. And the state board representatives have already been announced.
Thank you, sir. Well, yeah, all right.
I guess I can write this stuff down for you too.
Yeah,
I got all my head steel trap.
Well, if you say it, it'll be on the record. Like,
Okay.
I am actually recording it. Like, I wasn't sarcastic.
Since you're already speaking, the chair recognizes Mr. Brittingham from Sussex County. Please announce the nominees for, the officers for the 2019 to 2020 Sussex County Executive Committee.
2021, right?
Well,
2019 to 2021.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Announce the officers you just unelected.
Okay.
The chair.
The chair, I'm gonna remain chair.
Okay.
We don't have a vice chair. secretary is gonna be Mr. Matt Martell over here.
Okay. Welcome, sir.
And as far as we don't have a treasurer, I usually been acting as treasurer as well. Till anybody wants to step up and do that, so. And then, like I said, the representatives, I'm one of the representatives to the board, and then, like I said, we'll suspend this notion
Right,
that.
the chair will stay vacant until,
Yep.
the next Sussex County meeting.
Yep.
Madam Chair, Mrs. Frost?
Okay, for our officers, for Newcastle County, I am continuing as the chair, and our, vice chair is now Bill Hines.
Oh, cool.
Bill Hines, and our, secretary is continuing to be Dale Thomas.
I'm his
And
brother.
our treasurer, Brad Thomas, no relation.
I had to think about that when I was announcing that. I'm like, Brad and Dick. Okay, yes, same last name. All right. It threw me for a loop there for a moment. So.
Dale's 3 inches taller. That's how you know.
No, thanks, Rob.
Okay, I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Please continue.
And of course, our representatives to the state board as per our, constitution. Myself as the chair, and also John Sherman.
Okay. Perfect. All right.
Mr. Chair, I have a motion to make.
That's right. Thank
that
you.
is in order.
Chair recognizes Mr. McVeigh.
In light of the fact that it had previously been done, I was not aware of this. I was informed by Tim Sprong. There has previously been established a Libertarian Party of Delaware Lifetime Achievement Award, which we were unaware of. It's named after Mr. Jim Conk, who is a former state chair who died some years ago in a plane crash. So there was an award established that was named after him. We already have certificates printed up, so I'm not suggesting that we print new certificates or anything, but just for the sake of any sort of press releases that we put out, any sort of documentation that we put out, and any future awards that we issue at a later date, especially that the Lifetime Achievement Awards that have been given to Bob Wilson and Tom Uffner, as well as any moving forward, be renamed the Jim Conk Libertarian Party of Delaware Lifetime Achievement Awards in his honor.
All right, so we have that as
That's
a
a motion, yeah.
And I'll second.
All right, so we have a second to the motion to nominate or to change the name in perpetuity of the Libertarian Party of Delaware Lifetime Achievement Award to the Jim Conk Award. It's been seconded. All in favor of renaming or renaming the award? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed?
Point of order, that one can't vote.
All right, fair enough.
Good job, Julia.
Are you opposed, or are you trying to get this one to raise their hand?
I'm opposed,
Just to be contrary?
He's going to be the new Bob.
All right, so motion carries with one token no vote.
She found buttons to push. She loves pushing buttons.
Future ICS.
Change the source.
It's fine. The last slide just says motion to adjourn. So I have people waving their hands, ma'am.
I asked for a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Nadine Frost, Chair recognizes Nadine, she has the floor.
Julia.
No!
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, we discussed a great deal today about the need for outreach and for getting our name out in front of the public and inviting people to engage with us about what we do and what we believe. The Newcastle County Party, of course, has been very active in outreach. We try to do at least one thing per month, sometimes two, but we would like to do a very large outreach that is going to require essentially the entire state to assist us. The Blue Rocks, which is our local single A baseball team, has packages for groups. And, based on what we do, it could be anything from just a set of tickets in one section to, one of those skybox things. What we would like to do is have a Blue Rocks Day for the Libertarian Party. We would like to reserve one of their picnic grounds, and the picnic grounds includes, separate seating, picnic tables, plus food. Yes, the food is included. But we need to have a commitment of a minimum of 25 people, whether that's 25 actual libertarians or, one libertarian with 8 people in their family. But we do need 25 people so that we can reserve a space and time and date. The rates change based on whether it's midweek or a weekend, and Fridays are straight out because they're just blocked up all the way till the end of the season anyway. But the advantage is, during the game, they announce our name multiple times, and also we get our name on the Jumbotron, okay? And it also would give us an opportunity to have a place in a attended venue where people would actually be able to just come on over and talk to us, and we'd have signs and the whole literature, etc. But we do need to have it statewide because there's just not enough of us in Newcastle County to meet the 25 requirement. So,
point of information before you finish. Would we like to open this up to other LP groups like in Pennsylvania, Maryland, New Jersey, and the LNC, or just keep it local to Delaware?
I think we should just keep it to Delaware for now, because it's going to be the Libertarian Party of Delaware.
Okay.
And our email is ncclp1776@gmail.com. So if you are interested, please send us an email so that we can get a decent head count so that I can then go to the Blue Rocks and make an arrangement for the picnic grounds sometime. We're hoping probably late August. That should give everybody enough time, and they should also still have an opening or two. At the most, it will, the last games are usually played Labor Day weekend.
Actually, I have the schedule right here.
Can you give us a rough idea of cost? You said it varies between day and weekday and weekend.
Per person, if we do the picnic grounds, I believe it's something in the neighborhood of $20 per head. There might be a reduction if there are children involved. I have not had a chance to get this year's rates. I had them last year, and I doubt if they're going to change that much. But, like I said, if you don't want to do the whole picnic grounds things, they will, give us a slate of tickets in one section, and that can be as little as, $8 per person. But you have to pay for your own food.
I have to study Robert's rules a little bit more, but I think point of
just
order. Okay.
Yeah.
So to answer those questions.
Point of information: is it true that?
Okay. Point of information: is it true that the last game for the Blue Rocks is in September? Yes, it is. It's September 2nd. And, point of information: is it true that let's see, box group pricing is $9 for base price, $10 for the fireworks, that's Friday, so that won't work, and $7 for Wednesdays, where reserve box is $8 for base price, $9 for the fireworks, that's Fridays, that won't work, and $6 for Wednesdays. It does not mention here the picnic grounds, but I'm going to make what I feel is a fairly safe assumption that Wednesdays are going to be cheap. Unless we pick another day of the week and it's going to be
midweeks, that's Monday through Thursday. Mm-hmm. They have a lower price because they just don't have as much attendance.
Right.
Fridays are just, like I said, likely already completely booked because that's fireworks night and you just can't get a seat there. And so it's going to be Saturdays and Sundays. Sundays are day games. So you have to consider the fact that it's going to be 95 degrees and there's no shade. But those are our options at the moment. I'm just trying to get a head count right now of people who would be interested in attending with their families, so that we know that we have at the very least the minimum 25, then we can start the negotiations with the Blue Rocks.
Very interested.
Yes, Brad?
Yes, yeah, I'm interested.
Okay.
Point of information, can we ask for a show of hands of interest?
Sure.
Here.
Sure. If you could raise your hand, if you'd be interested in going to a Blue Rocks game to support the Libertarian Party of Delaware, please raise your hand.
And for those of you in Sussex County, there is carpooling.
It all depends on how busy I am that year.
It looks like about 11.
Okay, so if you're willing to bring family, that brings 2 to 4 people each.
Yeah, my son wife. Oh, no,
So
she's
both-
on baseball games.
Okay, so there's 2 more that aren't even counted.
Yeah.
Well, Dale's family.
Friends and family are definitely encouraged to come and participate.
Oh, yeah.
If you could, just send a courtesy email to NCCLP
1776.
Is it DE 1776?
No, NCCLP 1776@gmail.com.
Follow the bouncing ball.
Okay.
Alright, thank you very much, Nadine. One last moment, Alex still has 4 books. He's willing to sign a little extra for profanities like taxation is not in fact theft. He will write that in there for, you said $50?
Yeah, 30,
Perfect.
30, they already got a signature, 50, I'll write whatever you want me to write in there.
Okay,
Point
so.
of information, does it have to be in cash?
Whatever the LPD Delaware is on the table.
As opposed to what, credit card?
Well, a card or.
PayPal.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Bitcoin.
Alright, so.
Cryptocurrency.
Okay, alright.
I guess, well,
Pesos.
actually, you'd be paying Alex, and then
Alright,
he'd be
so.
paying us.
Would you?
No,
that's.
Donation to us,
Yeah.
donation to us, so you can pay it to me through PayPal.
Okay,
So
you're gonna be at Nadine's tonight, correct?
Yeah.
Alright, I can just go to the bank and then pay you, and then you can.
Except the donation.
Alright, then I'll do it through PayPal.
So the donation goes to the party, the book comes from Alex and he will sign it for $30, or for $50 he will write something crazy in there at your request.
I'll do $50.
And if we don't get paid, we have people we can send to your house.
Yes, I know, break my legs.
Okay, so.
I mean, I was gonna send her, I didn't say anything about it.
So we have 2 books left, they're flying like hotcakes. If you're still interested, bear in mind that Alex is taking off tomorrow.
Yes, I'll be here
And if for some reason, yeah.
pretty much throughout the end of the day, and then
Okay.
tomorrow morning I will just train out.
I believe your train's around 11:30 in the morning.
Okay, so Alex will
Which is
be here
supposed
till
to be, yeah.
11:30 tomorrow. You know, the idea is not to have him sitting there hanging out the window trying to sign a book for a donation to the Libertarian Party of Delaware. But
That's $70.
For $70, he will do that.
They are already signed.
Oh.
With profanity tomorrow.
Oh. So they already signed. So if you want a book, coordinate with Mary Catholic Bank. So unless we have anything else for the general body, I will take a motion to adjourn or dismiss or adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
We have
Second.
a motion to adjourn. We have a second. All in favor of adjourning? Is there anybody opposed?
Yeah, I'm having too much fun.
Aye, one opposed for having too much fun. Alright, the ayes carry. We are now adjourned. Thank you everybody once again for coming out to the 2019 Libertarian
And it is
Party.
4:50.